Hujai, and welcome to the Gated Gates podcast. We know it's been a long time since you guys have seen us, but we are back. We are back in the saddle, in the familiar places that you guys are used to, and here we are. As we always are. Yeah, it's been a minute. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge all the forces in the non-material, particularly Demnabla Musa Moradinabig, and all the other great ancestors that are standing behind this great work, and all of the powers of nature, all of the forces of nature that are standing behind this great work, all the deities, all the powers of nature, everything that's standing behind this great work, and we're back. We know you guys have missed us. It's been some time, but here we are, and we know you guys. Baby. We know you guys are used to us at a very particular time, and we would have done it in that time, but in true Gated Gates fashion, some unexpected circumstances occurred, and we adapted. We pivoted, and here we are. We're back with you guys for another episode. As you guys know, my name is TutibSaa. I'm one of the hosts of Gated Gates podcast, and I'm here with
KagzrImen Kebtah, your other host. 1 and 3, never 2. That's me.
Whatever the hell that means.
She know what it means.
And I go by Amma. Yeah, Amma.
That's it, just Amma.
Yeah, just Amma. It's Drake.
Don't, not even. Don't even.
She's like, only call me Amma.
No, in fact, some call me Amma Akata. So.
Oh.
That's a whole nother topic.
I'm a wildcat.
Oh, so you do know.
Yeah, I know a thing or two.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. Some people, Akata is like a derogatory word, equivalent to,
I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
You never heard of Akata?
What the hell is Akata?
No, not Akata. Akata.
No.
Well, it's originated in Yoruba, to mean wildcat. That's the direct translation in their language. But a lot of other Africans use it to reference Africans outside of Africa. And so when people on the continent often use it, they
derogatory
in the term in the sense of, oh, you're not from here.
Oh. Yeah,
but you are from here, but you don't.
So what do you call people when you say that?
Well,
how do you say it?
Akata. Akata.
Akata. Is that what it means? Is that what your nickname is?
I took on that name.
Or you were like, I'm gonna champion this. I
wanted to ask you about that for a while, actually. Why did you champion that name like that?
He's like, but now that you're live
since
on
we're already
camera,
talking about it,
Yeah.
Okay, well, because I'm gonna just go say it.
Yeah, it's Gated Gates. You gotta come.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, you gotta go straight.
Yeah, it just came out, right? So. This country, we know they use the N-word. We know that means nigga, right?
Yeah. Right.
So we use that word here. It used to mean something bad, but apparently it's become a word that we've redefined, and it can mean just like homie, or it can mean something else, right? Depending on the context you're using it. But for some reason, Akata, when you tell people, it's depends on the context you're using it. They're so set on the way they use it, the way they've heard it been used, that even when you tell them, hey, it just means wildcat, they're like, no, you're insulting Black Americans, you're insulting us. And I'm just like, well, somebody who used it towards you used it negatively. I get it. It's been used against me negatively, but then when I learned what it meant because of the language it came from, right? The people who spoke the language, literally wildcat, I was like, wait, hold up. Was it in reference to the Black Panthers? And so...
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, because if you listen to Fela Kuti, he says Akata. In some of his songs. You know, so it's not necessarily bad.
This is brand new to me. I didn't even know this was a term.
I
Yeah.
never even made that
Yeah.
connection with it. That makes sense.
And when I wouldn't say much younger, but when I was like, before now, I was
Like last year.
I would say, well, a wildcat knows like the earth is its home. Like wherever it sits, it claims and it holds it down. So if I'm an African outside of Africa, like I'm gonna claim where I'm at. Not that I'm gonna claim it as mine, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna be me, and I'm not gonna,
These niggas can't hold me back.
you know, gotta make a take out of that. But I'm not gonna pretend like I'm weak and I'm not important anymore because I'm not on the continent, right? So, and then I also felt like, not even felt, I realized, because I kind of studied communications in school, how like a lot of the ways we don't understand each other is because of the ways we've been taught to communicate with one another. Like the communication gap is really so vast that we think we're so different, and we're really not that different from one another. So yeah, I just was like, I'm gonna take on this term. I'm not in Africa, so I am Akata.
That's very interesting, like way that you took that, because I think a lot of Black Americans would appreciate that. Because how I even learned about that word was actually we had an initiate that was here, was supposed to be in our generation, and the person left.
Makuzum?
No. Not Makuzum. I'm not gonna say their name. I'm not gonna, tell the story of why they left or what they were saying and whatever. But they had an interesting kind of like perception of things, and they told me that word because they were like, well, this is what Africans think of us. And so once they told me the word, I looked into the word and I started like finding videos about it and stuff, just trying to educate myself. I was like, okay, I get it, and I see why she would be upset. And it's used as a derogatory term, but at the same time, that doesn't mean all Africans use it, because not everybody even knows what that word is. So the way she took it was like, and I think the way you're applying it, if you were to tell that to Black Americans now and use it in that way, you would see things start to change, even from their perspective of themselves, but also the perspective that they will have in Africa. Because even Africans will probably start using the word different themselves.
Right. And that's the first people I started to tell that to, my family, because I said I'm Akata, and I had my older brother was like, no, don't you say that. I said, what's up? What you mean? I am here. Like, it's true. Like, I am outside of the continent, but you're calling me Akata, not Obroni, which is a white person.
Obroni, that's a white person?
Yeah. But
is that another Nigerian term?
no, that one, I don't know about that one, but that's like a contemporary agreement where like people use it.
It's like
and they
kind of like
know.
global on the West Africa. It's like Obroni. But on the
Yeah.
east side,
I've never
you know
heard
what they
that.
call what they call white people on the east side?
What?
I like this word. Mzungu.
Imzungu?
Yeah, Mzungus.
Mzungu?
Yeah, Mzungus. I like that word.
Really?
It just sounds funny.
What is
On the
that?
east?
What language
It just
is that?
means, I think it started with Swahili or
Mzungu?
yeah, something like that. But
So what does it mean?
white person literally means white. It might
Yeah.
mean something else, but from how I've been exposed to it, it just means white person
It sounds like something.
or somebody
yeah.
that's pale. No.
I mean, it has like phonetically the way it kind of Imzungu, like it has like a, it has that kind of thing where you could kind of use it in a way like Umzungu.
Like, I don't understand what you mean. Like in a good way.
No,
Just has
Like, no,
energy
it's
to
just-
it. I know what
it's
you
just
mean.
like
energy
that.
to it,
It's-
like the way you like. Cause what's the other one? A brony.
Oh,
Yeah.
brony. You
Yeah,
can't
like,
say
yeah,
it like that.
yeah, like just the way.
Oh, brony.
Yeah, a brony, like just in
Yeah,
general.
that one just sounds
and
neutral.
It doesn't sound neutral. It just kind of sounds like a jabroni. Like it just sounds like some English shit. Like it just doesn't seem
Well-
like it has like some shit to it, you know?
It's from Kenya?
It's from Kenya.
In
Oh.
Oh,
Zungus?
so what was it saying?
White person or
It means
A
white
white
person
person
or
or a
peanut. What?
peanut.
Mzungu or a brony?
Which one?
Zulu.
Oh.
Mzungu?
A peanut.
Means a peanut.
Wow. Okay. So we're calling white people peanuts now.
Well,
Okay.
listen, I don't know about
they
that.
Are, they kind of are peanuts.
But no, I was the term Akata. It became something where it's just like, okay, let's really talk about this, because when the word nigga comes up, that did not originate from black people. We want to repurpose, but then you got Akata, and you're like so disdained from repurposing, but you don't even want to look at the origin because you're so hurt by, you know, what an African has called you. And I get it. Like, I get it. You know, humans are mean to each other. Like, we're just mean.
Humans are terrible to each other. Terrible.
But then I'm like, you know, like Black Americans, like, if you heard the things Nigerians be saying to Ghanaians, you wouldn't even think.
You wouldn't even take it so personal.
You wouldn't even take it so personal. Africans be mean to each other.
And you know what it is? Now that you say that, like, we gotta understand, like, universally, black people are all fucking rude.
There's a
We're
way.
all rude. Like, there's no difference. I've been in houses of Black Americans. I've been in houses of Jamaicans.
Yeah.
I've been in houses with Haitians. I've been in houses with Trinidadians. I've been in houses with Nigerians, Ghanaians. They're all, dare I say, the same.
Literally.
Well, dare I say the same.
It's like, you know
It's
what?
just the energy and the way people interact. So if we having a problem, or you think we having a problem, then maybe you need to readjust and reset and think maybe that's just how family kind of move in a way.
That's just how we move.
Right.
Like, that's how we, I think, as a people move. And the interesting thing is this, is I was thinking about this when the hunters were having their ceremony, and then they were like insulting each other back and forth.
Right.
And then I started to think about it, and I was like, yo, that's rap battling. Like, that's when we all link up,
You
and
get
then
it.
like, okay, there's a cipher happening, or we're roasting each other. Like, because you have to have a backbone to exist in any type of culture that's not like, I mean, not to say white people don't have a backbone, but you don't really, like, the kind of like shit talking in the white world is like a different kind of shit talking.
That's the
Right.
kind of shit talking that might actually get you killed.
Well, it's a yeah. I mean,
Depends on who
It's
you
like,
are.
I'm gonna sue Tyler. Tyler, can you believe what she said? I can't believe she said that to
But
you.
they,
You
it's
should
a
totally
different
sue
kind,
her.
it's a different kind of shit talking. It's not the kind of
Right.
shit talking that you have where it's like, nigga, what are those? Or like some shit like, you know, like where you're like, you know, you're just talking and just a bunch of niggas sitting around talking,
Yeah.
or Africans sitting around and just like, you know, like, can you believe this happened or such and such. But white people kind of do it in an indirect, weird, it's like country club shit.
They have their own
Condescending.
way.
It's like, yeah, it's like weird the way white people talk shit to each other, and like the way they do that. But anyway, it was making me think, like, I think those things get so weirdly blown out of proportion by people that don't understand, like, that's just what it is. Like, you're not gonna go to Jamaica and niggas aren't gonna roast you.
No.
Like, you're not gonna go to different parts of Africa and niggas aren't gonna roast you.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's like the same thing, like, when you go to the hood and niggas is gonna fucking post up on the block and roast you.
Exactly.
There are certain things I think that, like, weren't lost culturally.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of slavery, regardless of colonization, regardless of these things all across the globe. So I don't think it's lost.
No, that's the thing. That's the point. It's not lost, but I think what's getting lost is the fact that we're not really looking at each other's experiences and then seeing it as a collective.
Right.
And we can throw in South Americans in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh.
Mexicans, I mean, I like, I'm not gonna say I'm Mexican, but like, I
look
look
like
like
it.
a Mexican. But I mean, I look like a lot of things. Like, but I know that, like, Hispanic people roast the shit out of each other
Oh.
too. So it's all across the board.
And then feed each other right after the roast. Like,
Exactly.
that's just part of the cycle. I mean, even me, I had to learn that. Like, my mother would even be like, "You're too sensitive. What's going on?" Like, and it's true. You get older and you realize there's some being communicated, and that if you get so hung up and caught up in your feelings, then you're missing learning something. You know, it's a way of like telling you something without telling you something.
Well, it's interesting because we were supposed to start a lot earlier, but we weren't able to start earlier because just due to some mishaps that occurred, unforeseen circumstances, and so there was a conversation that was happening between a couple of us while we were sitting here waiting, and that's like kind of what we were talking about in some ways, kind of, right? Is we were talking about like what Angela was just mentioning, where, like you got to be able to sometimes say some things like and tell some people some things that maybe either they don't know if they've recognized it or if they've seen it. And I was kind of telling the person, like, you've caught me on a night where I really don't give a shit. So I'm just going to like say this and I'm just going to tell you. I mean, I'm sure some people are like, isn't that every night for TutibSaa? But no, this was a bit different.
It was a special occasion.
It was a special occasion. So I think it's necessary. Like you have to have a backbone. And I think even going back to what you were saying in the beginning in terms of like the Akata or Takaka. Akata. Whatever.
We're going to practice Akata.
Akata. In terms of Akata.
Why you sounded Japanese?
Akata.
I mean, they have some black history there too.
The Japanese.
Man.
If the Irish are the niggas of Europe, them the niggas of Asia.
Nah,
Fact.
The Japanese?
Yeah.
I would have went Thailand on that one.
Well, the Filipino,
them
you could
too.
say them niggas.
Yeah.
Definitely the Filipino.
Well, it just kind of depends on the shade of nigga in terms of like the different areas of Asia. And that's the thing, is like we're all...
Are they like a Nigerian nigga? Or
Well,
they like a Kenyan kind of nigga?
I mean, it kind of just depends
The
because
Japanese is like the Ethiopian kind of niggas.
No, they're actually like the Nigerian in a
The
way.
Japanese?
Because
The
they have
No,
a history with
take
the
that back.
No, we're going off of personality traits. That's what you're doing. And what I'm doing is there's actually a history where like a black man, I think he was from the Songhai Empire. Songhai Empire, yes. He actually went into Japan and I think ruled for a bit, but he was helping them out. It wasn't one where he came, there was a fight and conquered. No, it was like one where the people accepted him, and I think he's like the first like a black samurai. Like it's in their history. I'm not gonna give no dates because I don't have the dates, but I do know that they have a history where there was a black man who came and ruled and taught them some things.
That's an interesting topic. We could talk a lot about that, but that would be like a whole nother kind of show.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just kind of depends on your like the shade of nigga in terms of in Asia, because even going back to what you were saying, like when you're dealing with people from different someone in the chat just said, Jessica just said, nah, Philippines is the Mexicans of Asians.
Wait, how?
It's right here. It's right here, nigga.
Jessica.
Don't ash into the candle. Like, oh, that's pretty funny.
I didn't expect that one.
I didn't expect that at all. But yeah, so like when you're dealing with people from like different regions, like, come on now, you're not gonna find people that are more discriminatory against other Africans more than Africans.
Yes.
Like you're not gonna find people that are more discriminatory against Asians than other Asians.
Right.
Like the Japanese don't fuck with the Chinese don't fuck with the Koreans don't fuck with the Japanese, and they all have their like groups of hating each other. And it's like, I'm gonna say this, and if there's any Nigerian listeners out there,
everybody is the Nigerian.
Every African that you come across in Africa knows you do not go to Nigeria, and you steer clear of Nigerians.
Listen, my parents met in Nigeria and we're Ghanaian.
Okay,
so,
but let me ask you a
like,
question.
let
me ask you a question though. If you show up with a Nigerian man, what your parents gonna say?
No.
No. Hold on. Let her say it.
Oh, bro.
Let her say it.
No.
If you show up,
probably be like, let me meet him because they have history there. Now, I can't speak for people whose parents were never there.
You know
Like,
what your dad is gonna say?
no, my dad was a physics teacher in
He's
Nigeria,
gonna say,
so he.
do you cook jollof with basmati rice? You cook jollof with basmati rice?
No,
Wait. Who cooks jollof rice with basmati rice?
Nigerians.
Nigerians? Nigerians cook jollof rice with basmati rice?
I am not part of
I
this.
don't even cook jollof. Like in Sudan, we don't have jollof rice. But I even know you can't fucking cook jollof rice with
I mean, that's
basmati
their
rice.
style of cooking. I don't understand. Like, just leave them alone. Like,
Yo, I saw a commercial. I forgot where it was. It was on Instagram actually. So it was this girl. She was dating this guy. They're African. He's Ghanaian. Well,
Where's she
he's
from?
really Nigerian, but
You
the
see?
family.
Oh, but he acts
the
like he's from
family is
Nigeria.
Ghanaian. So he decides he's going to cook for the family. So he makes jollof. The father sits down. He washes his hands. He's like, oh yes, yes. Then he goes to eat the jollof. He goes. Hey, basmati rice? Hey, he's like, who are you? Who are you? What is your name? What is your
Wait, and where was the family? Where was the family from that he was?
No, the family's Ghanaian,
And he's
but the guy
Nigerian.
is Nigerian pretending to be
Oh
Ghanaian.
hell no! Nah.
He said, basmati rice? Who are you? What is your name?
get out of my house.
Hell no.
Oh man.
Oh shit! I didn't even.
Nah,
I
you-
didn't know that. I didn't know that niggas is out here cooking jollof rice with basmati rice. That's a whole
I
nother
mean, shit, it
ballgame.
might taste good, but I don't know.
See, you gotta leave it to the Senegalese with that one. They
Jollof rice?
Jollof, yeah, they're the ones who.
You're saying leave it to the Senegalese?
Yeah, I mean, Ghanaians make it good. I'm Ghanaian. I'm always gonna rep. But if we're gonna talk about origin stories, then I gotta give it to
Senegal all
Senegalese.
the way.
Yeah.
I can't say I know too much about jollof rice from different regions to be able to be out here and be like, yeah, it's Senegalese or
Nah,
whoever.
trust
It's
me,
the
bro.
Senegalese?
You gotta have it from the Senegalese.
Yeah.
You got to.
Then I gotta
Shut
take
up.
my ass to a Senegalese restaurant or something.
My first time eating African food, period, was from a Senegalese restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yep. I met this guy at a bar randomly. I just decided to go out on a bar one day by myself. And what is it, West Fourth? Whatever. You know all those bars, the strip with all the bars
Where?
in downtown
in the
Manhattan?
city?
Yeah.
You're talking West Fort. That's like by like NYU. Not
that's
too
what
far
you're
from
talking
like.
I don't remember, but anyway.
You're talking about like West Fort. That's I'm sorry. That's
That's-
It's by a park. It's
That
a
is by
park.
NYU. Then you're
that's,
talking about that
yeah, you are.
region.
And we're talking about
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
But there's like a large
What's the
strip
name
of
of that?
bars there,
What's the
right?
name of that damn
Which one?
park by NYU?
Washington Square
Park. There you
Yeah.
go, Washington
Yep.
Square Park.
Yep. But there's a strip of bars there, so I just went there
Yo,
by
Medica's
myself.
hungry asses in the comments talking about yes. I've had the Senegalese jollof. It's A1.
A1.
It really is.
It's
It is.
good.
It is.
That's why they're quiet in that
when
word.
Medicana comes around, we're talking about food.
But this actually pertains to what we were talking about, how we're not as different as we think.
Exactly.
Because I get to the bar, I'm by myself. I don't know anybody, right? But somehow I see another black guy. I'm like, so I just skirt on over there. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? He's like, hey, what's up, man? He got an accent. I'm like, where you from? He's like, oh, I'm from Senegal, man. He's like, where you from? Oh, I'm Jamaican. He's like, you Jamaican? Yeah, man, yeah, man. You know how that
The
goes.
theatrics.
So, we quickly, we dancing, we vibing, we talking to girls and stuff. We link up with some Asian guy playing beer pong and shit. By the end of the night, me and this guy are like best fucking friends. We even met up with some of his friends, and then we met this other guy who owed him money. So we were about to beat the guy up. I don't know the guy from
What?
anywhere, but we was gonna beat the guy. I was gonna beat the guy up
How
for him.
long ago is this?
When did you
I was like probably like 22. Like this is
Bro, you act like I have your
at least 10
ID
years
memorized.
ago. At
Okay,
least 10
okay.
years ago. But long story short, he was like, yeah, man, you're like, you my brother, man. You was gonna fight for me. You was gonna fight for me. I'm like, yeah, bro, come on, bro. Like, it's family. Come
Where
on.
is this guy now? Since you guys are
I
such
don't
good
know. I
friends.
don't
Did you even ever get to eat
Yeah.
jollof rice there? Like,
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. So this what happened. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yo, man, I'm hungry. We smoking weed. I'm like, yo, man, I'm hungry. He's like, you hungry? I'm like, yeah, bro. He's like, man, I'm
Who's
gonna take
commenting
you.
is the Earth Center?
Gotta be the guy behind the
Yeah,
scene,
like,
right?
you gotta change your. You can't be commenting as the Earth Center and putting laughing emojis.
But long story short, though, he took me all the way to Harlem. Me, him, and these 3 other African guys. All the way to Harlem to a Senegalese restaurant at damn near 4 in the morning. I was like, why are y'all open? This doesn't even make
This might
any
be
sense.
where we're going
This is like-
after this. Like, we
we
might be
can find
taking
it,
it. We
yeah,
might
why
be taking
not?
that after the Senegalese restaurant.
But man, that was some of the best chicken. Peri peri chicken,
Yep,
jollof rice.
peri- yep.
You making me. I was already
Fish.
hungry.
Their
First time
lamb.
I had fufu, and it was some other dish. It was almost like it looked like cheese, but it was pasta.
I can tell you about that.
I
one,
can't
though.
tell. I don't know what it's called. but
Sounds good.
With sauce, man.
Sounds good.
Tasting it right now, man. But the point is, even the food was just so similar in flavor to what I know, being from Jamaica. It made me realize that day, because even before that, that was my first actual experience, like, so close with Africans.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, my first real close experience. So for me, in a way, that was like
About
a
to go
shift.
beat up niggas just.
Yeah, about to go beat up random niggas. I don't know for this guy, but that was my first like real shift to it. And I'm saying, you know, sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of exposure
Yeah.
for us to like really come close and then see we're not that different.
We see, but this, I'm gonna say, this country does this thing where even the way you get close, like, you get in the way of even experiencing that proximity. I say this is in when I came to this country, I didn't expect to see so many black people. I was like, well, I moved into the Bronx. I was in the hood. I was in High Bridge. If you know where High Bridge is, then you know. That was the hood. And I was so surprised and happy to see so many black kids. And they were like, you African booty scratcher. I was like, booty scratcher? Where did you?
I love that.
Like,
I love
what
African
you
booty
watching
scratcher.
people scratch ass for? Like, I was so perplexed by that. I was like, do you not wash yourself? Like, where do you come from with such an insult?
But you know what's crazy about that term? We call each other that. But the fact that
didn't
you
know.
probably were actually from Africa, they was like,
Right.
oh, it fits, it finally fits.
It's like it was so many insults, and I didn't cry about them.
Yeah.
Once again, my culture does that to me, so I'm just like, where you
So
come
what
from
did you
with
cry
that?
about?
What did I cry about when I was younger? Oh, I didn't want to get in trouble. Like, because in Ghana, if you get in trouble, the teacher beats you and then your parents whip you up at the same time.
you not like that. It's not
you don't
like that
get
here.
beat here though.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, I didn't want it to happen, not one, not twice, not 3 times. So I remember being really sad once because in Ghana, the way we sharpen our pencil is with the blade. And so I had a blade with me at all times. And so I went to the garbage can to sharpen my pencil. And this Puerto Rican girl,
Angela's like, Angela's like, I'll cut you, bitch. I'll cut you. Don't fuck with me.
no, she came to the garbage can and she gasped. She was like, is that a blade? And I looked at her sharpener. I'm like, there's a blade in there too. Like, what's
Right?
going on? And she ran to the teacher, and the teacher said, oh no, you got to go to the principal's office. So that's why I started crying, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't want to get in trouble. And then the principal and the teacher called my mother and said, we know she didn't mean any harm, but one of the students are scared, so we have to suspend her just
Little soft Puerto
because.
Rican girl.
What'd you say?
I said little soft Puerto Rican girl.
Puerto Rico. Since we're speaking on the different versions of people within their respective area, Puerto Ricans are the white people of Hispanics.
Yeah, it's true.
They're the white people of Hispanics.
They're the whitest of
They're the whitest
the
ones.
bunch. It's true.
And they're the ones that always seem like to forget that them niggas is mixed with Africans.
A lot of them. There's a section.
A lot of them.
There's Puerto Rico, and then there's Borica.
That's true.
Like it's two different entities on the island. It's like Puerto Rico is 100% the white people of the Hispanics, but Boricua, nigga, what do they call that? When they got the dresses and they doing the thing and they beating the drums and they doing all that. You can't get the African out of those niggas.
Boricua, morena. Like even in the song they say it.
Mofongo, plantain. Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. But what I wanted to say more is that before they even get to experience Africans, they're still stuck on what they're told about Africans. That even when they're learning, they're still stuck in what they're told about Africans. And Africans do that too. So like we do the same things too. And so that's why I took on the name Akata, because I was just like, I want to hear it.
I'm still not going to Nigeria.
I was like, I want to hear it come out of you, because until you say it, until you get that gunk out, it's gonna be stuck there. And so it's like, say with your chest, you don't like that term. And so whenever Black Americans hear me say Akata, like that raw anger it comes out. Like I've had a man curse me out once, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Calling yourself that.
Yeah. He was
Ain't
just
that some shit?
He
Cool.
insulted me, and he was like, "Screw you and your ancestors," and I was just like,
Nigga,
"Me,
yes,
we,
too.
oh, all right, cuz like if that's how you
Where
feel."
were you? Where was this?
It was on the internet. He went in the comments, Instagram. He went off, and I was like, I don't even know you, but wow, that term really triggers them. But I think it's because for those who were robbed of their experience of being on the motherland, they're really hurt when people from the motherland don't accept them. They're really, really hurt. And it's like, I get that pain, but it doesn't, like, you're directing all that pain to a group of people that you actually want to get proximity to. How does that work?
Yeah.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that, so people are always trying to connect with people that they think are in proximity to them. So like when I was coming back from Merita this time, so I flew into Newark, right? And so when I flew into Newark, the
Big
flight
mistake.
Yeah, I was trying to. It's because when you fly into JFK, it's so goddamn far away, and it's so difficult to get back. And I was trying to be, conscientious of the person that was gonna be. No, I put shea butter on my lips, but I was trying to be conscientious of like the person picking me up from the airport, and we're in New Jersey. Then you got to cross the bridge, you got to pay tolls, all that shit, right? So.
Right.
When we got off the plane, I flew through Istanbul. So it looked like everybody that was flying back to the States, whatever flight they had was, flying, connecting through Istanbul. So there were some white people coming off the plane from Costa Rica. There were some people coming in from the Middle East. I don't know where they were coming from, but they were coming in from the Middle East, and a bunch of people coming from Africa. I was coming from Africa. And then there were some people coming from India. There were some people coming from all over, right? And so there was this guy that I saw on the plane, and he vividly stood out to me right before we got off the plane. And I looked at him, and I was like, oh, just like a white man, tall white dude, beard, older guy, maybe in his like 70s or 60s. He fit the description. He was like, like serial killer. Like he fit the description of like, the quintessential white serial killer. And so him and I were walking like all through the airport going up to immigration. And we just kind of happened to be getting off the plane at the same time and kind of just happened to be walking around the same pace. And so when we get to immigration, I'm in front of him and he's behind me. So I had my headphones in, and by the time we got to immigration, by the time we got to customs, there was like a line of like hundreds of people. And so there was a lot of people, right? And so, but I had my headphones in. I was like, whatever, like it is what it is. I'm just gonna, like for someone like me, I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, I can't get frustrated, because then if I get frustrated and I'm up there at immigration, then, they might look at me funny and they'll be like, sir, please step to the side. So the white dude at a certain point says to me, and this is right after someone had left their bag, like in the line for immigration. Someone left like an unidentified bag and just left it there, right? And so the white dude says to me at a certain point, and let me preface this and say he's wearing a red shirt, and on the back of it says the 5 pillars of Islam. So I'm like, this nigga.
So he's a white Muslim.
He's a white Muslim. You could tell he's like a white Muslim convert, right? So then he says to me, he's like, man.
That's the definition of Marmaluke.
Okay, hold on. So he's like, all right. He's like, man, he's like, I can't believe. He's like, look at all these people here at immigration, and they only have 2 lines open, and this is ridiculous. I flew so many planes to get here, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah. You know, I'm just trying to be like, you know, just be nice. And then he says to me, he's like, we should just make a run for it. He's like, there's no way they could catch us. And then I just kind of looked at his ass. And I looked at this white dude wearing this fucking 5 pillars of Islam shirt. And I'm like, look, nigga. Like, I don't say it, but I just think it. First and foremost, I don't say shit to him. I just kind of was like, and turned around. Because it's like, no, nigga. We have 2 wildly different fucking descriptions. And you're going to make a run for it. They're going to be like, get him.
But he identified you with Islam automatically.
He identified me as someone like, yeah, you're with me, right? And then so I'm like, if I make a run for it, they're gonna fucking shoot me. So then I'm like, and whatever, right? So by the time we get up to immigration, he's in the line next to me, okay? But he has to go to the other guy, not the same guy as me. But he ends up somehow getting his passport checked before me. But I hear the guy, the immigration guy, and he's like, sir, you're going to just step to the side for a secondary screening to the white dude. And I'm like, see? I'm like, this nigga is getting secondary screened. I'm like, hell no. So then, for some reason, that flight, the plane took forever in terms of the luggage getting taken off. So we're sitting there, we're waiting. It was like an extra hour, like just waiting for the luggage to come off the belt. And there was this Indian dude standing next to me. And then he's like, you were on the Turkish flight, right? I was like, yeah. He's a younger Indian dude. And I'm like, yeah, I was on the Istanbul flight. He's like, yeah, me too. He's like, yeah. He's like, your luggage gonna come? I'm like, no. And then he was like, yeah, I got a bag tag. I got an air tag on my bag. He was like, and it's still saying that it's outside. He's like, but it hasn't moved for the past like 30 minutes. And I was like, okay. I was like, that gives me some hope, because I was about to go start the whole process of, you know, the lost luggage, all that kind of shit. And he's like, no. He's like, it's probably just gonna come any minute now. So then him and I start talking. He's like, where did you come from? And this other Indian dude walks up. And then he's kind of standing by us. But the other Indian dude was wearing like straight, like a Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga. He's wearing like the high class loafers.
Yeah, nigga money.
And so, but no, he's an Indian dude.
No, but nigga money.
Yeah, he's got the nigga money thing. I don't even know what sounds we have right now, so I can't even hit the sounds. But so then the three of us start talking, and then they're like, "Oh, where'd you come from?" And I was like, "Burkina Faso." And then the dude wearing the Louis Vuitton is like, "Oh, awesome." And then I'm like, y'all don't know where that is, do you? And then the first Indian dude started laughing. He's like, I don't know where that is. He's like, but I didn't say awesome. He did. And then he's like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, where'd you come from? And then he's like, oh, I came from Prague. I came from Austria. He's like, dude, Prague? I'm telling you, bro. He's like, that's where it's at. And then I was like, oh, why? And then he's like the ladies, man. He's like, you know, he's like some of the finest white women you could find on the planet. And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, okay. And then the second dude says, yeah, I just came from Mumbai. I had to go to Mumbai to get surgery. And then so
the Louis Vuitton guy.
No, not the Louis Vuitton guy. No, the Louis Vuitton guy.
He said Prague.
He said Prague, but the other guy said I came from Mumbai.
The one who snitched and said he was the
one who snitched was like, I don't know where the fuck that is, nigga. He said that shit. Like, because he was trying to front. Like, you could tell he was like one of those dudes.
Yeah.
the Louis Vuitton guy. So the Louis Vuitton, the Mumbai guy goes, yeah, you know, I just came from Mumbai, and like you would expect this shit, like you would maybe expect what's happening in the airport to happen in Mumbai, like you wouldn't expect it to happen here. And then I'm like, nah, I'm like, it kind of depends on where you are. I was like, it's not supposed to be happening here, right? Because we're in America. They're supposed to have their shit together here. And so the conversation started revolving around like the differences between where we were coming from and where we are, right? And so then I'm telling him, I'm like, if you see this white dude with a red shirt on, steer clear of him. I was like, because that guy might be like a secret like TSA agent or some shit here working at the airport trying to talk to one of us,
Get somebody in
and then
trouble.
get one of us to be like, yeah, you know, like go do this, and then like you go do it, and then you get shot, and then he doesn't, and then he's like, because he's thinking he's with us because he's, you know, he is coming from the Middle East or wherever he's coming from. And then so the Louis Vuitton guy goes, yo, check out this lady over here. Because now the first Indian dude left, okay? So after the first Indian dude leaves, that guy says, yo, check out this girl right here. She's a baddie. And she's like behind him. I'm like, where? And then he's like, behind me, bro. Like my three, like right here. And so I look, and it's this regular plain ass looking white woman.
Oh my God.
Right? And so I'm like, bro, you talking about her? And he's like, yeah, bro. I'm like, bro, she's not even that cute. And he's like, no, bro. He's like, she's pretty cute. And he was like, and you know, us brown guys, we can't be picky. He was like, I'll take any type of white woman I can get. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. He's like, we need to take any type of white woman that we can get. He's like a blonde? I'll take any kind of blonde. And so now he doesn't know me, right? And okay, so let me preface this. I had just got off traveling like 24 hours accumulative to make it to the destination, dealing with all the shit that I was dealing with up until that point. And so I was like, what did you say, bro? And he's like, yeah, you know, I'll take any type of white woman. And I was like, there's something wrong with you, bro. And he's like, huh? And I'm like, there's something wrong with you. I was like, what do you mean you'll take any type of white woman that you can get? I was like, do you not have any self-respect? I was like, do you not have any value? I was like, you need to wake up every day and look in the mirror and then say self-affirmations and like give yourself...
Not the self-affirmation.
Oh, yeah, fucking right.
I was like,
yes, I swear to
This
God.
nigga said you need self-affirmation.
I swear to God, you need to build yourself up. I was like, because there's no reason for you to be standing here talking about you could take any white woman that you can get. I'll be damned before I'm out here walking around in the world acting like that. And then he would just looking at me like, what the fuck? I was like, well, there's my other bag. I got my bag and I left. But I'm telling you, it's so interesting the way that like the world is so small and is not as different as we think it is between all of these places. But the world or the media or so many different things want to tell you things are different.
Right.
But everybody thinks the same. Indians don't get along with Pakistanis. Pakistanis don't like Indians.
They're the same, same friggin' people.
It's the same people. The Filipinos don't like the other Asians. Other Asians don't like this and this and that. Mexicans probably don't get along with Guatemalans. Guatemalans probably don't get along with Mexicans. I'm just generalizing. I don't know. But
Generalize.
But it's true. And then, you know, I'm sure.
No, that's true. There's actually some El Salvadorian beef.
Oh, there's El
Salvadorian beef and Venezuelan beef. That exists.
See, I didn't know that.
It's just beef. There's a show called Beef actually on Netflix that I just watched. And it's about beef of like, I think they were Korean, but they were beefing with, it's like a Korean rich family beefing with a Japanese. Like, it was just like beef. It's called Beef. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I haven't watched it because it's called beef, but then I saw them eating a burger.
So you thought.
So then I thought it had something to do with like
Actual beef.
like actual beef. So I was like, I don't think I'm gonna watch that shit.
Should I say anything, or do you want to figure it out?
I don't think I'm gonna watch it.
So basically, this woman, she has like extreme road rage.
Being honest.
She has road rage, and she happens to pick on a Japanese guy, and he goes, "I'ma chase her." And he she puts him through traffic, everything.
Oh,
and then
I've seen the commercial
he
for this.
decides at
Okay.
some point he's just gonna remember her, her license plate, finds her, and then at
hell
some
no.
point in the show goes to her house. She's crazy. I don't know why she let a man in her house and then say my husband's not home. She's crazy. But then he goes and pees all over her bathroom. And he pee everywhere in her bathroom. She gets so angry. Now she looks at his license plate. And he's thinking he got away with it, but she tells her husband, and the only way she got her husband to join in on this
Beef.
was by saying, you know, she talks shit about Japanese. He talks shit about Japanese, right? And he goes, what? And that's when now her husband goes with her to go find him, and it's like just beef.
Oh, well, maybe I'll check it out. There's a lot of people commenting saying that it's good. So
Yeah.
I might check it out. I mean, now that you ruined it,
No, it's not
Angela.
ruined at all.
Hilarious.
It's actually nowhere. It's worse than what I'm telling
Oh,
you.
it gets even worse. Okay, then
it's far
maybe
worse.
You know, you
Yeah,
just
check it
remind me
out.
of a funny situation. I used to work with Japanese people a lot. Them is my niggas. Them is my niggas, for real. I love Japanese
You're
people.
like, Shogun is my favorite show.
I love that show.
Naruto.
But we were at the restaurant, and then we were doing ramen. So they have ramen machines, right? Like it's supposed to like steams the noodles and everything.
Oh,
and you have
wow.
the pots with cook the soup and all of
Okay,
that.
yeah.
So one of our machines stopped working. So this is why I love Japanese people, because again, we're not that different. We might look different, sometimes speak different language. Seems like we're different, but we're really not. Because if some shit breaks in the bush, I've seen my cousins, not electricians, not engineers, look at this shit, get duct tape, cut the shit open, fix it together, and build a whole new machine, and that shit starts running. Like, I have a
Yep.
cousin, one day I was looking at his bike, right? So I'm just there sitting underneath the mango tree, I'm chilling, you know, just looking at life, just wondering, pondering. Then I see his bike. I'm like, the bike has like 7 different colors on it. And like different parts, and I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure out like what kind of bike is this? Is this a Yamaha? Like what is this? So I go like, yo, Bobo. He's like, yeah. He's like, yo, cuz, what kind of bike this? What is this? He starts laughing. I'm like, why you laughing? He's like, me build it. I'm like, you built it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean you built it?
That's the
He's like,
brand.
I built it. He's like, I went and got all the parts together, put it together, and just built it.
Yep.
I'm like, nigga, what? Like, who are you? Like, there's no way.
Genius.
But back to the restaurant, right? The shit breaks. All these Japanese motherfuckers are just sitting. None of them are fucking electricians or engineers. Sitting there trying to figure out how to fucking fix the machine. So at one point, right, they got to the conclusion that the machine is just not fixable because their genius couldn't fix it.
Right.
So you know what they said?
What?
They all got together in a circle, started laughing, and said, huh, it must be Chinese technology.
See, beef. Man.
It was never serious, bro. I'm like, yo,
Wow.
Yagi-san, just call the fucking technician, bro.
Fix it.
He said,
Must be Chinese
It's
technology.
just like, let's relieve ourselves of not being able to fix it.
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so like you just explained, like we just all got beef and we're just gonna talk a certain way, but it doesn't mean I hate you. It does not mean like as bad as like I think Black Americans think Africans think of them. Like they be really thinking Africans hate them. I'm so confused. And you know, I
It's
think
vice versa as well.
Africans do hate black people.
but they don't hate them like
Africans don't fuck
It's-
with black people, and black people don't fuck with Africans. We just gotta be
wait,
real.
no, but
We
I
gotta
think
get-
gotta be real.
but
We
I
gotta
think
get to the
it's
root of
fake,
this.
Though, but
We
I
gotta get to
think
the root of
it's
this.
fake. I think it's so fake. It's like the fakest waste of time ever, in my opinion, because like if there was a fire in this space, they're gonna talk to each other and trying to figure out how to survive and how to get out of the place. Like, it's not gonna be like, well, I hate you, you're gonna die, and I'm gonna live. It's not that. So that's already, to me, something is intrinsically there. But my thing is, I think that dislike can be fair. You might not like each other because of certain things. Yes,
It's just ignorance.
but then you never get to talk about where that dislike comes from, and you don't know if it stems off of something that's not substantial at all. Like, I think, like, for instance, Africans, when we came to this country, I talked about my experience, but my parents had a different experience where they've had black people spit on them, like real, like, mean things, because they're like, you coming to take my job. Like, they really are angry and
Well,
upset.
black people look at Africans as competition
Yes.
for what the white man owes them. Yeah.
Is that substantial?
What do you mean substantial?
Is that a substantial
a
reason
reality?
to? Yeah,
It's not a real
hate
reality.
Africans for that.
But here's the thing.
Who planted
No, I don't think
that?
it's-
But
I
here's
don't
the
think-
thing.
I don't
That's
think
the
it's
problem,
real.
though. Going back to, because you
Exactly.
said something very interesting and very important. People like people who they feel are in close proximity to them.
Or like it, or likened
yeah.
to them, yeah.
The reality is, black people outside of Africa, I don't care what you say or how much you think. Some people think they're not even African, right? But I don't care what you think.
Like, I'm Native American.
Let's not bring those idiots into this. But I don't care what you think.
That's not.
We were here
Deep
before
down-
Columbus.
Shut up, nigga.
So are the Africans?
let's get to the root of this. Deep down,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can't go against the blood in your veins.
You cannot.
You just can't do that. There's no way you can go against that blood.
Right.
And again, it's just ignorance. The more and more we spend time with each other, the more you're going to see that there's more similarities than there is differences.
Right.
And that disdain is because we don't have that close proximity. And we don't have it because we have people who are from the distance who are not in what we would I don't even want to use the word race per se, but let's just say category. They're not from our category, but they're the ones who are spitting the disdain. They're the ones who are bringing the propaganda. Because I even saw a video about it the other day. It was a Ghanaian guy, actually. He was like, you know, when they come to this country, there's programs that the government's set up. They use Africans basically for their mind.
Yes.
A lot of inventions
Yep.
and things in development that's going on, it's coming from Africa and Africans. But they take these people from their villages and they take them from those countries, and then they purposely put them in Ivy League places. They purposely put them around close proximity to people who are not of their category. So now those people identify with the people who are not of their category. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now because they
Trap.
identify with those people who are not of their category, they don't get close proximity to the people who actually are. And then they're being told by the people on the outside, stay away from these people. But at the same time, those same people who are telling them to stay away are educating the people here to think a certain kind of way about the people over there. Because they're the ones creating the situations in Africa that's making Africa the way it is, right? So now they give you that perception and they saying, oh, it's like this. Even propping it up, making it worse than what it actually is, and then educating you to go against it because now you don't want to associate yourself with something that's negative.
Right.
It's an education thing, and that's the problem.
Communications.
It's just divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. If you have one person telling you something bad about this person, and that's who you're in close proximity to, you're going to believe it. And on the other hand, the people over there are not in close proximity to you. You don't hear their side. You don't hear their story. So you don't even see the similarities. You don't even see how you coming from the same root.
Because you're
One
putting
tree,
in
many branches.
you're putting an experiment at the end of the day, because that's not
Exact
natural.
social experiments.
It's not a natural
That's all
circumstance.
America is. It's a huge ass social experiment.
It's true. It's true. Because, like, while you were
I
talking,
don't think they're experimenting. I think they're succeeding.
They're
doing
successful social experiment.
They're doing it very fucking well in terms of divide and conquering.
they're
everybody.
doing it. You're right. But you know,
They're not experimenting with shit when it comes to that.
They perfected. They've had like 2,000 years to
Nigga,
perfect
that
that shit.
recipe is perfect.
but the thing is, I not to give them all that credit. There's a system
Nigga.
working. No, what I'm trying to say is a system's working that they don't
Nah,
even have to
I-
do anything to it anymore.
Because it's
I give,
self-sustaining.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be real. I give colonial powers. I'm not even gonna say white people. I give colonial entities their fucking respect in the
Yeah.
sense that,
Nigga,
nigga, what you did was fucking genius.
They're doing A+
You
on
destroyed a
on
whole
it. Yeah.
civilization of people all over the world. And you're not even 50% of the world population. How did you do that?
Well, you know
That's
what it is?
crazy.
But I mean, the way that they've even done it so well is that they'll be like, "Hey, black people, you see that African booty scratcher over there? They're here taking what you deserve." And the black person's like, "Yeah," and then they're like, "Yep, you could have had that, but the Africans are here taking what's owed to you." And then that's how that starts. Because I mean, yeah, my dad has told me stories about like when him and my mom first came over, like the way certain black people were treating them in Pittsburgh and all this kind of stuff.
They used to call us coconuts, bro.
Yeah,
Fucking
I mean,
coconuts.
it's not surprising. It just is. I think it's interesting because I mean, going back to the to the Japanese story, is that's just the way it's unfortunate, but it's the way like people in the West really kind of like I feel like we should join their conversation. Yeah, because it's like what are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about over there?
We
like,
can hear the mumbles
yeah, like
and the
we hear the
grumbles.
mumbling over there. We're like, it must be great.
Must be.
We want to know what you guys are over there talking about. But it's even Elon Musk that told this story, and he was talking about the car manufacturers in the 80s, right? And he was talking about how the difference between the Japanese car manufacturing and the American manufacturing is that there's a boat with 9 people in it, okay? And the Japanese have 8 people rowing and 1 person steering. And the Americans have 1 person rowing and 8 people steering. Okay? And when something goes wrong, let's fire the guy rowing. And they fire the guy rowing. And that's the difference between the way people from the West and people from Asia and other parts of the cultured places think.
Yeah.
So that anytime you find someone willing to fire the 1 person rowing, like, just know you're dealing with Western people. You're not dealing with like cultured people. So I mean, it just goes to show, like, you know, we if we're not careful, like, you fall victim to the divide and conquer and the colonialism of thinking.
Right. You know, going to that's a perfect analogy. Now let's look at the people on the boat for the Americans. That 1 person rowing. What hurts us black people is it would be 1 black person that's doing the rowing. And if there's an African that's part of the group that's not rowing, there's more of an anger. Because there's someone like me who's not rowing. How come I gotta be the rower and that person is not the rower? Because we see an identity, but
That's the crab in the barrel mentality.
But that's what they're not realizing is that that's the formula. There's always gonna be 1 person rowing, and they're gonna put that person in a position where, like, emotionally, like, they're not gonna target the system. They're gonna target 1 person. Well, and they find a way to do that. And so what I wanted to say a little earlier that you were saying that also connects to this is when you look at the Americas, like, black people, I think the reason I can understand why they're angry to some extent, but we have to graduate past that, because a lot of people would say to me, well, at least you know where you come from. And I'll be straight up.
Well,
I'm
nigga,
like,
you can too.
And I'll be like,
found out.
But I'm like, but what is
But
But then
niggas don't want to know where they're from.
But then I'll say, what is a Ghana though?
What is a Ghana?
What is Ghana? Like, Ghana is also like became independent in the 90s. Like, what was it before that? Like, where are my people from? I can say I'm Ghanaian, but like, does it really get me anywhere?
Yeah.
You're bringing up a very good point.
So we're getting caught up in things, and we're never even getting to the root because we're caught up in something recent. And the problem happened a while ago.
Before that.
Yeah, because Ghana even creates this idea of independence off of just being independent from that one European power who allows them to become themselves, which is kind of wild that they said, all right, you can be independent.
It's like the Wizard of Oz trick. It's like that's literally what it is. I've said this before, and people didn't really get what I was trying to say, but this is what it is. In Africa, we have many. I don't like the word tribe because even the word tribe is actually a European word.
But
That's
you have
how
to go
they
there.
define
Right.
what they're perceiving something to be.
Yeah.
Right? But really, we know traditionally it's nations.
Yes.
The people. That's your nationhood. That's who you are.
Right.
Now, when you take people and you destroy a civilization, you destroy a society, and then you hoard them together, you group them in together into this place, and then, okay, well, we put you guys through slavery, we colonized, we took all your resources, everything, we feel bad now, times are changing, you guys can have independence. Oh, let's call this place Ghana, let's call this Nigeria, let's call this place Jamaica, let's call this Trinidad. What you've essentially done was, again, continue a divide and conquer moment.
There we go.
Because how can you now come and destroy and divide a whole landmass that was not divided to begin with? It wasn't divided by borders, but by cultural identities, and then now create false nationhoods for then people to now subscribe to now have different competitions with.
Right.
Like, what sense does it make for a Jamaican and a Trinidadian to have beef, or a Haitian and a Dominican to have beef? You see where I'm going with this? They've essentially created false tribes for people
Yes.
to identify with.
Yeah.
That's the problem now with everything going on in America. We have this false ideology of tribehood or tribalism, but we're not seeing it as that. And that's the tribalism that they gave to us.
Yeah.
The identities that we've taken on are not actual real identities.
No.
Ghana is a nationality,
Yes.
right? But based on what?
There we go.
Democracy, colonial structure. Again, we're falling into that same divide and conquer situation. We're not actually going to find who we actually are. Like, this is why DNA tests piss me off. How the fuck are you gonna tell somebody their DNA is Ghanaian
I hate
or their
DNA
DNA is
tests.
Nigerian?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because
Which-
if you're on the
Exactly.
continent, you know the way it really is. Like, people mix, families mix,
Yes.
tribes, quote unquote tribes mix. Everybody's genealogy or genetics is like different
Yeah.
and mixed up. You know, so you can't really like say, oh, because they're from this region,
They're
they
Ghanaian.
have a similar kind of genetic makeup as this person here, and this person here is this person here, so they must be this. No, that's bullshit. That's divide and conquer again.
Right.
You're fucking with people's minds.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they're so adept
Like,
at
what
it.
is Jamaican? Who made that?
And that's the conversation.
What is Beijing?
It's like, but if we
Because you even said Americas. You said the Americas. I like that because when we think about America, we're talking about the United States.
but is it just the
But
United
what is-
States? Because
What is that?
right.
Colonial identities, man. Well, I'm sorry. You were going to say something.
No, I was just gonna piggyback off of what you guys were saying and just say that, like, I mean, they're so adept at it that people are fighting over whatever they think their identity is, instead of just like, oh, hold on, but where am I from? And then they're even going to the people that took you from where you were from
To find
and then
out.
don't want you to know where your identity is, to then tell you what your identity is. Like, I was pretty livid when I found out that someone related to me went and got a fucking DNA test, and I was like, the fuck are you doing? Because I'm like, why the fuck do you need a DNA test? I could tell you where the fuck we're from. And then the DNA test ended up telling them exactly where
What
the fuck
you
we
knew.
were from.
Right.
And then I'm just like, why the fuck would you do that? So I think that so many
Snitching on our family.
I know. I'm just like, why? Like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
For some
And-
people, it's necessary, though. Maybe for him, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But for some people, like, let's say, like, you really don't fucking know
If you-
Fuck
anyone
outta
at all. You literally want to find family.
Yeah. Then you need to know.
By all means, bro, you need to do that shit.
I mean,
True.
but spiritually, okay,
To
like
some
just
extent.
kind of demystify it. Spiritually speaking,
Let's
you
break
do
it up.
need to know. You do need to know where you're from. Like, if you don't know where you're from,
Yes.
that's a big problem, because where you're from ties into, you know, like ancestrally, like where you have originated in terms of making contracts, depending upon who you are, because I don't want to say everyone made contracts with the lands that they're from, but you know, depending upon the civilization that you come from, you've made contracts with the land. You've made contracts with, you know, rivers. You've made contracts with mountains.
Trees.
You've made contracts with,
Plants,
you know,
perhaps.
entities. You've
Yeah.
made contracts with things. So if you don't know that, you know, where you're from, then you can't necessarily understand how those contracts work. Because I mean, when you really look at it, when you look at the earth and you look at the aspect of the construction of the earth, or the intelligence behind the design of the earth, being in one tropical area, if you understand the contracts of where you're coming from, and you're coming from a tropical area, then you should then be able to identify with any tropical area that you find yourself in.
Right.
And then you should be able to benefit from all of those entities and those divine manifestations in that tropical area, no matter where you find yourself. Now, the same applies if you're from a desert region. The same applies if you're from a foresty region, if you're from a you know, a coastal region, whatever, you name it. The same thing applies. Now, if you don't know that, then you can literally be disconnected from having like aspects of yourself aligned that can then be, you know, making it very difficult for you to even align with
Function.
yourself
Right.
and to function. So I sympathize and empathize with people that don't know where they're from. But then at the same time, you cannot do this shit where you're like, I don't know where I'm from, and I think I'm from Arkansas. I don't know where I'm from, and I think I'm from South Carolina. And then
Nah,
you
bro.
just fucking stop there.
Yes.
And then you're like,
Right.
well, my grandma's from South Carolina, and that's where I'm from. And it's like, nah, bro,
No.
you're from somewhere.
Let me throw a wrench in the people who don't think that they're from somewhere else. You know who I'm talking about? The people who think
KagzrImen's
that
like,
they're
coming for you before Columbus.
no, but it's fucking crazy to me because there's actual real like Native American people.
Hold on. Someone just asked, what are divine manifestations? Like the mountains, the trees, the rivers, animals. Like divine manifestations are things that were created by the divine and like carry the stamp of the divine. So it's something like that we find within environments that human beings can't say that they put there.
Right.
So
Yeah, we'll get to
We're
that.
gonna get to the questions.
We'll get to Jessica's question, but I just wanted to give that as a context since we were still on the
Topic.
topic.
So just to throw a wrench in these people's false pseudo history. There's real like Native people.
Yes.
Like actually for real. Like you can even go to South America and like there's still real Native American people. There's still real Native American people in Mexico. There's still real Native American people out there. Like we've had interactions with a lot of them, right? With actual languages and cultures and all that. So for
I had
you
to
to
think for
be
a
a
second, I'm like, do
pretendian and like try to
Pretendian?
say pretendian and try to say because this is the pretendian logic.
Them niggas is not even a $5 Indian.
Not even
They're
$5.
5 cent Indian.
5 cent Indian. Oh, even throw that $5 Indian thing for some of y'all who don't know. Historically, niggas owned slaves too. Historically, there was not just white people who bought those contracts and became $5 Indians. There was niggas too. So all y'all who are talking about,
Everybody.
my family had land this and they had native this, nigga, y'all bought that. But anyway, that's a whole stories for the days. Stories for the days. Here's what I'm saying, right? There's real people there. So for you to now go and then try to take away the history of certain people because you have an emotional attachment to America, you have an emotional attachment to your colonizers, which you just have Stockholm syndrome, really. You're in love with the shit that abuses you.
Woo.
That's the reality of it. So you have to come up with ways to make it comfortable enough for you to give a reason to stay here
Yes.
and not want to look anywhere else. That's what it really is. It's a psychological thing. But here's the dumb part about it. Everything TutibSaa just said, if you understand that, then you can even start to understand how you can start to heal yourself.
Right.
Because you will know how to eat based upon knowing where your ancestors are from. You know what kind of medicines to use based upon where your ancestors are from. You know what kind of speech to give based upon where your ancestors are from. Now this, I'm gonna use a little bit of the white man science. You know, every single black person in America is vitamin D deficient.
Yep.
Did you know that?
I don't even know what vitamin D is.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Somebody said it.
Hold on. Yes, true. It's true.
Somebody
It's true. But we're
finally
gonna
said it.
Well, hold on.
Vitamin D as a joke for dick. As being deficient for dick. Like if I was trying to like pick up a lady and I'm like,
God.
oh, I would use that. If I was going to pick up a lady in America, I'd be like, did you know that everybody in America is vitamin D deficient? What I mean by vitamin D is a dick.
Come on.
Well, thank you for that
That's a good.
public service.
Thank you for that.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for that.
If
Thank you for
anybody
that.
needs any pickup lines for their dating apps, there you go. I'm here for hire.
Don't do it.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this: we're gonna
It would work.
ignore his vitamin D statement. We're gonna use white man science.
Okay.
Because of course, what is vitamin D, right? We don't know.
Do we?
But we do know for a fact that it can.
Look it up.
It's something that can be identified in a way, right? But here's the thing: if you're telling me every black person is vitamin D deficient, but here's a weird part about it: black people in the Caribbean or black people in like the southern regions of the planet
They're not.
are not vitamin D deficient. So
Right
what
there.
makes it different when you're here in the Americas for you to be vitamin D deficient? Because if you go over the Caribbean, you go over to Africa, you're not vitamin D deficient, according to the sciences, right?
What the fuck is vitamin D?
The
Hold
body
on,
doesn't
nigga, let me
produce
make
it.
the point.
It's so
Let me
interesting.
make the point.
It's,
Let me make the point.
that's the name of this podcast. Sorry.
Thank you. The point I'm trying to make is this: human beings react to their environment based upon where their ancestors
Oh,
are from.
I see where you're going. I see
If
where you're
you-
going.
If you as a black person are not fully functional as you should be living in the States, that shows you it's because you're actually from somewhere else, Negro.
You native
It's
somewhere
not
else.
even, it's you native somewhere else.
There we go.
And that's not to take away from black people who do have native ancestry. There's
Right.
mixed people mixed. That's
Yes.
cool. I understand that. We have Seminoles, we have freedmen, we have all of that.
Yes.
But you can't deny parts of yourself because you have an emotional attachment to your abuser.
It's true.
That's not right.
You know, what you guys are saying is so key because TutibSaa, you broke it down. It's like, yes, it's important to know where you're from, but notice the different spaces you mentioned when listing the spaces you need to know versus how people are categorizing it. You mentioned different parts of Earth.
Yeah,
you
like different
literally said
regions.
lands
Yeah.
and different
Earth is big.
climates. But then when people want to know where they're from, they go with colonial terms.
Yeah, well, they're
You
like,
want to
well,
say
yeah,
regions
I'm
that
from
are
here.
listed by something else. It's like it's a little
don't know.
backwards because you're taking once again the approach of the people who divided you to find yourself again. And what I was going to say earlier that connects to this is that I have a deep connection to black people here because I get it. In Africa, we are next to each other. So when we beef, it's like we're beefing in natural environments. We're beefing on earth. Like beefing by the bush. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's nature. But when you beef here, it's a concrete jungle. You're not really like, you're
In
not.
tune. It's almost like the animal in the cage.
Yeah.
Like you ever notice like an animal in a zoo versus a real animal out there in the
In
wild?
nature, yeah.
It's two different.
The
It's
beef
two
is
different
different.
functionalities.
It's like, you know what it is? It's like, because that's a great point. It's like, here's like a zoo, right? And first and foremost, I looked up vitamin D, and it's some shit that your skin produces or some shit when the sun hits you. But then there's like certain things that you got to eat in order to get vitamin D, like fish or
The way
fish oil,
that
some
their
shit.
science would
Yes.
would promote it
It's a vitamin C
is
stuff.
like if you like, let's say white people, right?
Yeah.
Their skin reacts to the sun different than ours.
Yeah.
They stay in the sun where we be at. They will get burnt.
Yeah,
Cooked.
We stay in the cold too long. It's not
You
good.
said that with a little bit too. You were ready for that.
I
You were like,
get all the consonants.
Like you gotta
Yeah.
get the shea butter, baby.
yeah, like you were waiting for that one. You were like, cooked.
But point is, it's more difficult for us to survive in certain environments, and it's difficult for them to survive in certain environments because it goes back to like where your ancestors are from. So what they're calling vitamin D, to me, is just how your body is reacting to an environment. Because the Eskimos,
I don't know.
they claim they get their vitamin D from eating the fucking fish. But I mean, I could probably go up there and eat all the fish I want, and I'm damn sure I'm still gonna be quote unquote vitamin D deficient.
Because you need something else from the land.
Because I need the sun.
Yes.
My skin interacts with the sun different than somebody else's would. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have no idea what vitamin D is, so I can't even give like a
really
good
does.
contribution.
Nobody
So
really
I can't
does.
say the only contribution I have for you is a dick joke in terms of vitamin D. That's all I got for you. But let's get to the questions, because then we're gonna go into
Yeah.
we're gonna go into
By the way, we had no idea what we were going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were going to talk about tonight because our
Guest.
I don't want to put the person out there. It just, it was just somebody didn't show up for the show. They were supposed to be on the show and they didn't show up, but whatever, it's fine. Jessica is asking, how do you find out if you made contracts with certain lands? I'm assuming readings. I mean, not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily only come from readings. It can come, it'll be revealed to you. Like, you have to look for it. And what I mean by you have to look for it is, like, you have to genuinely want to know. And then you have to be kind of trying to find out, like, where you come from. And that's, like, where, like, the points that KagzrImen and Angela are making are very valid, because it's like, things aren't gonna come to you just because you're sitting around. Like, you have to go find it. You have to work to figure it out, and it'll be revealed to you.
But you gotta want to.
If you really want to know where you're from and kind of discover that, and then, like, things will unfurl, and it will be revealed to you, on your journey as you're looking for it. And I don't mean this in a philosophical, metaphorical sense. I mean legitimately.
Yeah.
It will literally, like, it'll come to you. It'll be revealed to you. Maybe a family member might tell you, you might come across some history that you didn't have in terms of, like, where you guys come from, all that stuff. So I would say, like, you have to genuinely want that within. And when you genuinely want that within and you genuinely seek that out, it finds its way to you, and you don't have to go, and then go to a damn fucking 23andMe and DNA bullshit and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have anything to add before we go to the next one. So
I was just going to say that, we have a saying here at Kebtah. The universe only reveals things to you based upon how you question. So the first, you have to really start to even want to ask the question to begin with. And once you want to ask the question, you have to put, like, the force and the drive behind that. And then, like TutibSaa said, those things will really, like, align themselves with you and try to find you.
The next question is, did Kemetic deities or gods be part of divine manifestation? I'm assuming you mean divine. And were they real manifestations? Ujai Chem Warrior, Warrior Zulbukande, long time no see. Good to see you back into the fold.
I've heard so much about you.
We've all heard so much about you, but we don't know who you are. For all we know, you could be Hot Nima.
Bumba.
Yeah. Bumba. Maybe one day Warriors Ubukande will reveal themselves. It's like a Mari show reveal. It's like you are not the father. Like, whoever Warriors Ubukande is. We're so intrigued by who this person is. It could be our next door neighbor, who knows? Did Kemetic deities or gods be part of divine manifestations? Yeah, I mean, the gods themselves are divine. So then, like, what you know as the world is, like, what they created. So And they're real manifestations. I don't know what you mean by that, but like, yeah, the gods are real. It just at a certain point in time, because like the world wasn't as it is today. Like the world is as it is today because there's a lot of history.
Democracy.
There's a lot of no. Stop, because then people are gonna think it has something to do with governments, where it starts way before that. The world was very different, and what I mean by that was that people all across the globe were indigenous, which meant that like they were aligned with nature and they were fitting into nature when the Kemetic civilization was ruling the world. So the world as it is today, it's very difficult to imagine something like the gods existing and it being like a real manifestation, because those are things that they show you in movies and then tell you that it's not real, and then you then start buying into realities that don't exist, and you start thinking these things are this kind of reality when there's actually a real reality, but then they've distorted your perception or your perspective of reality because they make you think that these things are in movies. Because I mean, we were just in Merita and we were seeing things, and we live streamed it, so there's no way anyone can say that we adjusted it in any way. There are things that you would call magic,
Bro,
if you saw it in a movie.
Let me tell you something. People will see the stuff we saw, and we will even probably show them videos of the shit we saw, and they will still find a way to say that shit fake.
And they'll still find a way.
They will still find a way to say that shit is not real.
That's why I was like, we're live streaming this, and like,
Bro.
I don't want to hear it because it's live, like, because even when you see it in person, like, and just wait, because there's other stuff that we haven't shown just yet, and we will put it out at when it's time. But we just want, you have to understand that the world was a wildly different place when the gods were manifesting themselves to human beings. But then at a certain point in time, they stopped and they closed their world off to us. And that was a conscious decision because of the way that things needed to evolve and the way things needed to happen within the existence and on Earth. So yes, they're real and they're legitimate, and it's not to say that we can't get in touch with the gods, but there's very specific ways that you do it, and there's very specific steps that you have to follow and all of those things. And a lot of it goes back to like what we were talking about in terms of contracts with where you're from and all that stuff. So I mean, it's very technical. It's very intricate. It's not something that we could just break down right here and right now. But there's a lot. I don't know if you have anything to add, or you.
There's a lot of other questions. I'll chime in on those.
And then, did the passport bro at the airport tell you that, TutibSaa? Yes, he did. Vitamin D. The dick is vitamins for whoever. Warrior Sobukande is asking, are the ancient Kemetic deities or gods part of the modern African society? Yeah, they are. I know KagzrImen is itching too.
Yeah, I can take that one.
Yeah, you were like, this is the one I was waiting for.
Yeah, I can definitely take that one. So this is an interesting question because actually somebody had asked this while we were in Merita. Because I guess lack of understanding of what this is. Kebtah, there's Mtom and everything, right? There's like the mystery part of it. When we're talking about like the gods and like the gods being part of modern African society, I'm assuming most people are talking about like Ra, Imen, and Tehuti and stuff like that. What you don't understand is, yes, those things are there, but just not in the way that you want it to be called.
Right.
Because I might be calling on Ra. If I'm in Ghana, let's use Ghana for an example, I might have a name for Ra different for a name for Ra than they have in Nigeria. Nigerians are going to have a different name for Ra than South Africa. South Africans are going to have a different name for Ra than Kenya. But the spiritual reality and the concepts behind it are what carries Ra, the essence of Ra. So yes, the gods are there, but they're hidden in various different ways, in various different clans or tribes, whatever you want to call it. The languages might change, but the spiritual principles never change. So it's always there.
And it also has to do with the regions where you find yourself, because the way you might understand the manifestation of Ra to manifest itself or bring itself forth in the desert is different from the way that manifestation of Ra will bring itself forth in another region, whether that be, you know, a tropical region, whether that be a foresty region, whether that be, you know, I'm trying to think of like the other kind of regions
Mountainous.
in the world, mountains,
Right.
you know, whatever it is. So
A good example of that is, you know, when we talk about like Wisser being like the father of humanity and also being like the one who's in charge of the cycles of nature, you know, things go through seasons, birth, rebirth, resurrection, so on and so on. But because of that, you can also see Wisser is like venerated as the one who's in charge of like the crops, like things coming back into fruit, eating. Interestingly enough, if you study a little bit of Native American culture and history, they have a god who was called like the maize god, the god of corn. And he's also the god of birth and resurrection, the cycles of life and death. Same concept, two different names, but literally same divinity. But they're just calling him a different name based upon where their ancestors migrated to, moved to, and had contracts with certain parts of nature. So then the language has to change. So then that's their dialect of how they are speaking about Wisser versus somewhere else in India, the same divinity or same god exists.
Shingalingam.
Shivalingam. Shivalingam.
What is happening? It's so funny you talk about
Dick
maize.
jokes never go out of
It's
style.
never gonna go out of style.
That's the dick joke. For those of you that don't know, look up Shivalingam. That's your vitamin D right there.
That's all the vitamin D you'll need.
Go ahead.
But no.
No, I was saying it's interesting you mentioned maize because maize is native to that part of Central America, whatever they call it now. But you go into Africa, like, we love maize. And we do also know that we got it from that area. Like, that's a known fact that trade happened. And so now you're talking about language. And I'm like, I wonder if that side of the world, not that I wonder, but at some point, a communications happened.
Oh, well,
but we
yeah, for
see
sure.
it through the land and what vegetation is growing because of the way the dialogue may have happened then. It was through trade. But yeah, that's why I wanted to share that.
That's a good point, because people, the way the world is today, people would assume because of how we're educated, let's be for real, we're educated in a European society
Yes.
based upon European values and European principles. So the way we're educated to see the world in a way where everything started to connect and happen big after Europeans came to power.
Right.
So we see the world merging and we see everyone coming together on a global scale after Europeans conquered everywhere. That's how we're viewing it. But the reality is that's far from the truth. Europeans even knew about the world because the world was already global.
Yes.
So yes, there was already trade happening between Africa and the Americas. Yes, there was travel between Africa and the Americas. There was travel between China and the Americas. There's travel between China and Africa. The whole world was already one. It was already a global civilization.
Right.
This new modern globalization isn't new.
No.
It's just a copy of what was before. The difference now is just there's a specific type of people or a specific group of people who are in power. That's all it is. And that perception of those people being in power is what rules the education of everybody else.
Right. And if we start to define ourselves based on that, we're lost. If we define ourselves based on where that starting point of when they educated us, we're already lost because we are never even getting to our beginnings. Like, we're stuck at when they started to rule. Like, a lot of countries, when you really think about it, your nationality is based on which group of people won that fight. Like, and If you stop there, you're defined by a war.
I mean, we speak in English, right?
Yeah, I mean, and
This is America.
and to white people's credit, they even don't get along themselves.
No.
Like,
Exactly.
the
They
year,
killed
like the
themselves off
Irish
first.
don't like the English don't like the Irish. I mean, it seems like none of the other white people like the English. And they all can
They
agree.
all hate the French.
I can agree with them. I hate the French too. I
The
hate
only
the
thing
French.
good
I
that
hate
ever came
French
out of
language.
France was croissants.
Croissants are kind of
Croissant.
whatever, bro.
I like croissants, bro.
People
Leave
love
me
croissants.
alone.
I don't
I love
understand.
croissants.
I
You
don't
like
understand
butter.
I like croissants.
Yeah, you
That's
just
it.
like butter,
Butter.
nigga.
Whatever.
Like
Buttered bread. Buttered bread is good.
Buttered
bro.
bread is
Fuck
good. Bread is
It
good.
is.
Buttered bread is amazing, but I mean,
Delicious.
nonetheless, it just because even they talk about like the French being the
Upper echelon.
like the status of
Of
cuisine
culinary.
of
It's
culinary,
bullshit.
and I'm like,
Yeah, it's
French
BS.
food is fucking trash.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's butter and cheese, nigga.
And milk,
It ain't,
that's it. Butter,
ain't-
milk,
yeah,
cheese.
it's hemorrhoids. That's
And
what that
vitamin
is.
D.
Right, Medicata? Hemorrhoids. Like, that's hemorrhoids.
Vitamin D is hemorrhoids.
That's what Halima said.
That's Shiva Lingam, nigga. Yeah, that's Shiva Lingam. For those that don't know, look that up.
I'm not
We
gonna-
got the Hindu dick jokes for you tonight. That's Shiva Lingam, nigga.
Next question.
Can African and modern Kemetic society accept some members of the diaspora or diaspora for those fucking language warriors out there? They're like, that's not how you pronounce it.
Doesn't really matter.
Too
It
far gone for reconnection with their ancestral roots. No one's too far gone to reconnect with their ancestral roots. You're probably already connected to your ancestors. You just don't know it. And you're just lost in the sauce, and you don't know that you're connected, and you haven't been doing anything to maintain that connection.
Ancestor says don't do that, and you did it anyway. They
Yeah.
just shake their head like these
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
It's not-
You just don't know when your ancestors are trying to guide you, because the way you think, the way the communication and the language of ancestors is completely different. Like I was watching, this is one of my favorite movies. I was watching Interstellar. Have you ever seen that?
5555. Sorry.
No, that's
like a
the Daft Punk
right now.
video montage. Interstellar 555. I know that.
I don't know what that is.
Interstellar, the Christopher Nolan movie. Never seen it?
I know the movie. I
Sounds
just never seen
familiar.
it.
It's a great movie. Great. Matthew
I'm
McConaughey.
gonna write
It's
that
a
down.
great movie. There is like some ridiculous things like they go into space, but I don't want to give it away, but that's the way you can understand the way ancestors communicate to you from another dimension.
Now I want to watch the movie. I'm gonna watch it
You need
tonight.
to watch it. You need to watch it. It's really good because the way they bring it full circle. Initially, I was like, I don't know about the whole space thing, but then the way they bring it.
Oh, I think I've seen
The
it.
way they bring it full circle is that the communications that happen from beyond the third dimension only I know I don't want to give it away, but I'm somewhat kind of giving it away. Is that only some people can understand it, and it has to be your ancestor to do it.
I'm intrigued.
I know, but it's like it has some great concepts in it, like in terms of like how time and space apply. Like there's a lot of great things.
Does it like flash back into his life?
I don't want to give it away. Just go watch it if you guys haven't
'Cause I
seen
think
it.
I've seen it, that's
if you guys have seen it, then we could have
I
talked
love
about
the way
it.
they put like real, actual spiritual principles in
In
these
movies.
movies,
Yeah,
and
like
then they
Coco.
make that shit like
Yeah.
fictional.
Yeah, like
But then the fictional shit
Right.
they give you as reality.
Yes.
yeah, well, they don't want you to actually get the real shit, and they can't. But here's the thing: is that you have to understand the way people in the West communicate, and the way people in the West communicate. Because when you look at a culture, the easiest way to understand a culture, or the easiest gateway into a culture, is to understand it through its expressions.
Yeah,
So
they-
understand
yeah.
it through its art. So when you look at the Kemetic civilization and you look at the art, it's about depicting nature and how we fit into nature. Whereas that when you look at the art coming from the Western society and the modern society, which are descendants of the Greco-Roman society, then anything that they didn't understand, and then they made it mythology. They made it, allegories. They made it metaphors, things that they weren't able to comprehend, things that they weren't able to perceive because maybe they didn't have the genies, or they didn't have the spiritual predispositions, or they didn't have the experience to see it themselves manifest in their lives, or the intelligence to pierce behind the veil of the non-material. They then made it, there's a minotaur, or there's, the harpies and the kraken and whatever, all this kind of shit. And that's what you see continuing in this day and age, is that the things that they don't understand, then they make it like horror movies, for instance. If there's a fucking evil spirit, the amount of people that have sex with evil spirits in their dreams every night, there's evil spirit. I don't even say evil spirits. Let me say it. Like the amount of people that have sex with spirits that are unfavorable for you is mind-boggling. You just don't remember that you're having sex with those spirits unless you're eating ass of those unfavorable spirits in your dreams, and then you have such strong spiritual predispositions that you can see it, and it can't force you to forget. So it's real. It's real.
It's a reality.
Yeah, it's a reality.
For
some people,
it's true.
It's a reality. Yeah.
Yeah, dang.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Either of you guys.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies, that the dream, it wasn't Kevin, ladies.
Yeah,
it was something else.
Yeah, it wasn't Matthew McConaughey in your dreams.
Oh, goodness.
Somebody else. What is your opinion of President Ibrahim Traoré being seen as a president of Africa? I'm with it. I'm not mad at that. I think what he's doing is necessary for the continent of Africa. And as a Sudanese person, I'm not from Burkina Faso, but I'm behind him every step of the way, everything he's doing, because I think that that's needed. I think that the world is in need of the courage that he's bringing. I think the world is in need of the strength that he's bringing. I think the world is in need of the innovation that he's bringing. I think the world is in need of the fire and the fight that he's bringing to stand up. Because, when you really break it down and when you really look at it, colonialism is just a bunch of people bullying other people. And then what he's leading and what he's really about is about making sure that Africa's not getting bullied anymore. And that people aren't able to just come in and do what they want and do as they please. And fuck the French, kick the French out, fuck all the Western countries, kick them out. Do what's best for Africa.
110.
Absolutely. He's focused on action. It's so admirable because he's doing things that people have talked about. He's not even talking. He's just doing it. What are we talking about?
I'm not mad at him.
I saw an interesting thing he did the other day. It was controversial when he took the land. He basically took the land and brought it under the control of the government, right? Mm-hmm. But his plan is to redistribute the land. Right. But then I saw him do something else that was interesting to me. The land is going to get redistributed, but he also, in doing so, he simultaneously not just stopped people fighting over the land, jihadists and all that, doing what they doing.
That ain't real. Them niggas ain't fighting over the land. Those are fucking the same way we know industry plants. Yeah. Nigga, those are industry plants from the West.
But that's what I'm saying. He's simultaneously tackling that issue, but also getting rid of foreigners being able to invest in Burkina Faso and taking wealth out of Burkina Faso and then bringing it to their respective countries. But at the same time, he's now also calling and inviting Black Americans and other Black people from the diaspora to come and potentially get citizenship. But then you see the kind of double whammy he just pulled. I'm just the guy's intelligent.
He knows what he's doing.
There's some stuff going on. you should really pay attention to. So,
Absolutely.
President of Africa, cool, but Africa gotta get rid of the colonial borders first.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing about Ghana.
I
Talk
Ghana.
about
I don't want to
it.
hear. I don't want to hear Ghanaian and Nigerian jollof rice anymore. Just jollof rice.
Basmati rice in your
No
goddamn,
more basmati rice.
your goddamn jollof
Man,
rice.
did you guys hear about the his new I don't want to call it regulations, but his new approach to even prison
No.
prison? Oh, you haven't heard?
No.
Oh yeah.
So all prisoners are gonna work on the land, agriculture, and if they work for a month, they take 3 months off of their sentence.
Oh, okay.
So
it's like actual reform.
yes.
Yeah.
Instead of just letting
Like-
people rot in a cell somewhere.
Yes, he's putting them to work.
Genius.
To work on the land, you know.
Why are you laughing? Zola?
Jessica said getting some vitamin D in your sleep.
Who said that?
Jessica.
Oh, Jessica.
Jessica.
Jeez.
It's true. Some people are getting vitamin D in their sleep from unfavorable entities. But yes,
my
back
God.
to Ibrahim
We
Traore.
gotta talk about the president of Africa.
We're gonna name this episode the vitamin D episode.
No, we're not.
I swear that
We are
This is the
definitely not.
vitamin D
We are
episode.
definitely not naming it the vitamin D episode.
of America.
Yeah, there's so many other great topics. We're not talking about vitamin D only.
But I really appreciate, not even appreciate, it's just like admirable because all people in other countries are seeing him. Apparently, when he went to Ghana for the inauguration of the new president, when they were mentioning all the other presidents that came, it was quiet. But as soon as his name was mentioned, all the young people got up, saluted, made all the noise. They followed him to the car. Like, they see what's going on. And then there was another video I saw where,
They tried to assassinate my boy over 20-something times.
yeah, like he's not talking.
Oh, yeah, they have?
Yeah, they tried.
They're still
even
doing
know
it
that, yeah.
today.
They're still trying.
He's not
All the
talking
time.
about none of it.
said all the time.
All the time.
And there are things he's doing that he's not really reporting either. Like
And as you shouldn't. As you shouldn't. When you're game changing, move in silence.
and
Fuck these niggas hating on him. Yeah, exactly.
and I think that's the theme of this season. Like, just move, do the
Move.
work,
And
like,
do it in silence.
Yeah.
If people don't support you, fuck them. All right, let's move to rapid fire because
Yeah.
we're damn near we're been at this for an hour and 40 minutes.
1, 2.
The floor is yours, whoever is doing rapid fire.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I don't know if they can hear you. I can hear you because I'm in the room with you.
Right.
But we're going to have to hope that the viewers can hear you.
Okay. Well, let's go. Welcome to Rapid Fire. Did you know there have been 94 aviation accidents in 2025, according to the National Transport Safety Board? Recent Delta passengers offered $30,000 each with no strings attached.
So
What are your thoughts?
I was thinking about the fact that there's so many plane crashes. And I'm like, what?
You know what I'm thinking.
What y'all thinking?
I'm like, what's going on? And I might go ahead.
Speculation.
I'm gonna just straight up say it, man. The deities is working. Nature is working. We were just talking about it, the divine, and if the divine is working, if the divine is real, bro, things are working. I don't want to say too much, but they already said it. You're gonna start seeing things. There's a lot of changes happening in the world, and the funny thing about change is when change occurs, there has to be pain. It's unfortunate and it's sad for the people who maybe lost their lives, if people lost their lives at all, but chaos has to happen.
I just hope for
That's just
anybody,
what it is.
anybody on the line, and any of us, and all of your friends and family, are in divine timing and are in the right place at the right time, and don't happen to be a part of any of that when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is alarming. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, damn. I was like, and then some people are trying to make it about the FAA cuts and all that stuff like that's happening in the government in terms of like their cut downs and all that stuff. But I ain't got nothing to do with it, bruh.
Yeah.
This thing is that gets me with like modern society is they have a lot of fancy words and fancy verbiage for a lot of the stuff that goes on. But when you really understand it, it's just them just trying to cover up what they don't even understand.
Right.
At the end of the day, like it doesn't have anything to do with anything about finance or any of that. Like what's going on is a phenomenon that they are like scrambling to find a real like concrete physical thing to blame it on. So you're gonna see all kind of stories pop up, all kind of theories, all kind of conspiracies. But nah, bro, that's not what it is. It's just nature is just reacting. Like, get the hell out of my skies. I didn't make you guys to fly.
Talk
I never
about
made
it.
you with wings, bro.
What y'all doing
That's
up
what
there?
this is.
It's true. You know, I thought
you
about
were
it.
in the wrong place, wrong time.
Thought
That's
about
it.
it too, and I was like, "What about these pilots? Are they okay?" And the engineers building these planes, like, I always thought, man, I'm so fortunate because I don't know how to build a plane, and I'm riding one to go to another country. Like, that's already me, you know, piggybacking off of the genius of other humans who know how to figure this out. And so when it's not working, like, do we check up on them? Do we know the life of a pilot? Because it's
Maybe another thing is too,
a lot.
the system ain't doing enough of its offerings.
Talk about it.
All right, let's move to the next one since KagzrImen's dropping the mic.
To get some agua.
Yeah.
Okay. USDA working to rescind a termination for fired officials working on bird flu efforts.
Okay, so I was gone, and when I came back, then I saw all this shit about the prices of eggs, and then it allegedly had something to do with this bird flu. But the thing I don't understand is
It's my first time hearing about the bird flu.
why are only the egg prices affected by this bird flu, and like what about Chick-fil-A?
What
Like
about the
everybody's
wings?
still eating the Chick-fil-A, everybody's still eting chicken wings, everybody's still eating chicken.
That's
jerk
like the time
sandwiches.
when they were like there was
Like-
no wings, like there was a shortage of wings.
And
Yeah,
they did,
like
they
but
did
so there's
thigh
no
stuff.
shortage of like thighs, like so.
Yeah, but they were doing.
Cat
That's
Williams
why they
talking
were
about
doing thigh stop instead of wing stop.
No way.
Like Wingstop started doing thighs,
Oh,
yeah, because it was like, hey, we ain't got no wings, we got thighs though.
Flats.
crazy.
No, that's still wings.
But I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But I
don't know.
wasn't here to know what the hell was going on.
From what I was told, I work with a guy who gets his like eggs from like directly from the farms because his friend is like a wholesaler, and he's saying that his friend is saying that he can't even like get any eggs because there's just an egg shortage. But then I'm thinking, if there's an egg shortage, isn't there a chicken shortage? What
You would think.
because if it's bird flu, right? Then how will we still have chicken?
I don't know.
Is it really an egg we got? That's when we
Yeah,
start.
but those aren't real eggs. I mean, the eggs here anyway,
Yeah.
like are some weird monster egg. It's not like a
But
small
they
egg.
still need some kind of monster chicken, don't they?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, of course. Like
Yeah,
the
I
chickens
mean,
here are huge. They're like monsters
Abnormally
compared
huge
to
for no
like
reason.
to
Yeah.
the chickens.
That's
in-
because all the chemicals they
don't
put
even
in the
taste
chicken.
good.
Yeah, I mean, not
And
only
they
the chemicals, the
stink.
antibiotics.
They
like,
stink. They
all
stink.
that
Growth
shit.
Like-
hormones, because
And then they're not like able to actually be animals.
No.
Like they're like in weird cages and shit like that.
Yeah, chicken shouldn't smell like that. I know a lot of people don't like know where their food comes from. So
Yeah.
people are not accustomed to killing the animals themselves. But I'll be the first to tell you, when you kill an animal, it shouldn't stink like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell they got going on here in America, but it should
Yeah.
not smell like that.
Yeah, everything's like mass produced.
but it's funny because they want to rehire people they just fired to take care of these things.
Oh, they're telling us this is supposed to
Wrap
be
it up,
rapid
wrap it
fire. Yeah, move along.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Abraham Torre opens a third factory days after two others. a significant step in his goal to enable the transformation of raw material in the country. Captain Ibrahim Touré inaugurates the opening of the third factory with the growth of private sector of Burkina Faso. Moulin Double Star M2S factory, a wheat factory sourcing its wheat from local farms. The industrial gem will help 300 direct jobs, 10,000 seasonal jobs, and thousands of indirect jobs. Not only he focused on action to improve the lives of the people of Burkina Faso, he's doing so without any handouts. He's sourcing change from within the country and growing the morale of not only those in Burkina Faso, but the entire continent and arguably the world.
Hey, I mean, no comment. Keep at it. Like, keep at it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Yup.
Protect this man at all costs.
Yeah. Word. Like, make sure and follow suit. Like, follow suit. Like, other African countries need to take note and need to follow suit.
Yes.
Like, you know, like, stop.
Stop being a little bitch.
You need to look in the mirror, okay? And you need to give yourself self-affirmations, all right? Out here acting like that Indian dude at the airport talking about, I'll take whatever white woman I can get, you fucking loser.
I mean, now you can't say you alone. Like, you got a country doing it. You have support. You have
Lead the way.
guidance. So it's.
This man is burning shame on a lot of leaders.
Oh, he is.
Nah, he's straight
burning
Because
shame on a lot of
straight up
leaders.
is.
And he's young.
Because he's showing what it takes to be a leader. And that's the thing, is that it has nothing to do with age. People mistake age. Like,
Right.
people will be like, you know, like, I'm this old, or I've been doing this long. And then it's like, but you fucking suck. Like, there's no way around, like, when someone fucking sucks. Like, if there's someone that's fit for it and they're better than you and they're younger than you, then let them fucking do it.
Move up.
Proof is in the fucking pudding.
Move up, or the new saying we have in Jamaica now. Come down. Come down now. That's the new talk.
I haven't heard that.
You hear that one?
It's okay. You
Late,
guys can
man.
talk about
You
the
late. Come
Jamaican lingo you guys are missing.
Come down.
Yeah.
Come down.
All right, next up. Brazil announces 9 new countries as new members of BRICS. Brazil's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which currently chairs the group, announced the news on Friday the 17th. With addition of these new members, the diplomatic grouping now includes the following partners countries: Belarus, Bolivia, Kazakhstan, Cuba, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Uganda, and Uzbekistan.
What was the last one?
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. Oh shit.
Bomboclat.
Yo,
That's some heavy hitters.
Yo, BRICS is scary, man.
I don't know about Nigeria though. I think they're like
we know. You
I think
told
they're,
us.
They're
Sir,
a
but
spy.
the people, though, but the
Watch out,
people, the
Europe.
citizens, they got reach.
But did you guys see the way Trump
got
is threatening
reach.
BRICS?
How?
That's how you know it's real.
How?
Huh? Is that not going to be one of our topics?
Is it with the Panama Canal or?
Huh? No, he's talking about. Hold on, let me put
Right.
Trump.
Well, the thing is, BRICS threatens the whole plan he's got going on with his sanctions and embargoes that
Oh,
he's
the
trying to do.
tariffs?
So-
yeah,
So
all the
Trump,
tariff shit he's trying to do.
Trump was threatening 150% tariff
Yes.
on any country that's a part of BRICS, and he was saying,
Really?
I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
150%.
Where'd
Yeah,
you get that number?
150% tariff. But the thing is like you're
But-
playing with fire.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think they care.
Who's they?
The
The
BRICS
other
countries. And from my perspective, all of these tariffs and everything he's doing, I see what he's trying to do, but countries are no longer trying to even associate themselves with the United States dollar. So they were already looking for a way to get out of situations and trade with America to begin with. That's why they're all partnering up and finding ways to have a global economy amongst themselves. So I don't know if it makes sense for you to put tariffs on people like that.
Just the sentiment.
I
You
get
mean like
that.
on countries?
Yeah, on these countries, because
Well, I mean, you put the tariffs
thing.
because what it does is that it forces you to pay.
yeah, but the thing is, America needs these countries more than they need America. That's the point.
Yeah, but it goes back to the Indian dude at the airport. Where do you have enough value for yourself to stand up for yourself?
Right.
Like, do you have a backbone?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I was raised to have a backbone.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I have a backbone. So, I don't give a fuck who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to push me around. But a lot of people don't move like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it depends on how you're kind of raised. Because even this article I just pulled up is like, Brazil was like, come on with it, nigga. And we matching you
Yeah, I
bar
saw
for
that.
bar, nigga. So if you hit us with the tariffs, nigga, we hitting you with the same exact tariffs.
Let me just say this.
And then South Korea was like, can we get an exception? So it depends. It depends on who you are. It depends on how
Korea,
you're
stop being a
raised.
little bitch.
Yeah, like it depends
Come
on
on,
it depends on you. So I mean, you know,
Come on.
I think
man.
it.
Listen, let me just say this though.
I don't think America has weight behind its punches like that.
No, that's
anymore.
why they're doing all this.
Yeah.
The America's
Well, Trump's
power
trying.
is already.
Yeah.
Well,
He's trying to bring it back up, but it's already.
I don't
It's
know.
already
Dying
downhill.
empire.
I think, yeah, I
Listen.
think there's some.
Listen,
You love AI.
All
Well, but
all
look
the vegans
Yeah.
who love your avocados, you gonna have to move, nigga, because they don't grow that shit here.
You gotta go to Mexico.
Nigga, ain't gonna be $30 avocado.
The Gulf
But
of
actually,
the
you
Gulf
know,
of the United States.
all those that were fired from the chicken coop space or whatever we just talked about, they're under Elon Musk's like governance.
You mean Doge?
Doge, yes. So we don't really even know
What
what's
do you mean? They fired everybody that's working in
For
the
the
chicken
chicken people?
coops?
Well, Trump had it so that there was a certain amount of federal. He's trying to cut down on
I'm just
federal
glad I don't
workers.
work for the government, bro.
Exactly. He's trying to cut
yeah.
down on federal workers. And so the aspect in which Elon Musk is in control of or has
Yeah.
to like delegate is the chicken coop space or whatever we just talked about. And yeah, it was under his governance
He's
that
gotta
all
trim
those
the
people got
fat.
fired. Trim the fat?
How you
Yeah.
have a nigga who
Yeah.
don't deal with chickens in charge of chickens?
But
Well, I don't think
Robot
he's in
chickens.
charge of chickens. He's just in charge of like whatever agricultural industry.
The financing of it, cool.
Yeah, just like
yes, the
cutting-
Department
cutting
of Government
costs.
I get
Efficiency.
that.
That's what it was. The
I
Department of Government Efficiency.
I get that, but I don't. Just for me, you could know numbers. Like you could be an accountant and know numbers and all that shit, but that doesn't mean you know chickens.
Exactly. So, welcome to America.
Yeah, I don't even think. At the end of the day,
Really, yeah.
who cares? Like, but I think it has more to do.
Whilst I'm spending my few months of the year here,
Yeah,
I would like to have some chicken. So
I don't want chicken from here. No, hell
Yeah,
no.
that's true. It's-
I'll
it's
get
so
some
horrible.
chicken
It's-
from
it's
there.
bad. It's
But
bad.
all right, let's
Next
move to the
topic.
next one. Yeah, you guys have to stay on us, otherwise we'll keep
yeah,
going.
we'll
on
keep
certain
going.
topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
next up, this one looks interesting. White woman gives birth to black baby after IVF mix-up.
the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
She was fucking with
for
that Indian dude at the airport.
Work for it. Christina Mori became pregnant after undergoing in vitro fertilization 2 years ago and said she was unaware until she gave birth that the fertility clinic had made a fatal mistake. The baby was black, while Mori and her sperm donor are both white. She says she later learned doctors had transferred another patient's embryo instead of her own. Though Murray planned to raise the baby's biological parents were notified and they filed for custody. Murray is currently suing the IVF clinic.
Why she couldn't go get no shivalingam? That's my question. It's that hard to get some shivalingam? I thought it was easy for women. I don't.
Yo,
No, that's not what's happening
The
with
long
women
way
right
is
now.
the short way.
But that's not what's happening with
Oh, wait,
a lot of
so-
women. They're
sorry,
saving their eggs.
I got distracted. So she got a sperm donor.
which is her
Yeah. Which is
hus-
white.
Which is
And
white,
she's
actually.
white.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And ended up with a black baby.
So they
Yes.
got a sperm donor
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
through IVF treatment.
Yes.
Yes.
So why didn't they use the husband's sperm?
It looks like
Wait, does she have a husband? I thought she was a
has
single
husband.
lady.
No, she has a husband.
it seems
That's what I'm trying to understand.
But it said sperm donor, not husband. It never said anything about a husband.
well, they said they're both white.
The
The
sperm
bottom
donor.
line is the sperm donor or husband is white, and the mother is also white, and the baby came out black.
But it didn't say husband. It just said sperm donor.
It did.
Doesn't matter. They're both white. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, but he's
so which
trying
begs the
to.
question: why you didn't go get some shivalingam?
My thing was
Your
that.
eggs work, so you should have got some shivalingam. I don't
Yeah, no,
understand.
there had to have
A
been
sperm
something.
donor.
There had to have
It's a
been
sperm
something
donor.
wrong for them to have to go to the sperm donor
Yes. So
because it doesn't make sense.
yes, the sperm donor.
So did she not want a black baby? Is that
No.
why is this a topic? Like why is this like why like who
Why
cares?
is this news?
Yeah, like
She just gave birth to a baby that she had to give away because they never used her
So
egg.
she's hurt.
Well,
Yeah, she's hurt. She went through pregnancy with another woman's egg and then gave birth to a black baby. She was saying that when she walks around, people are like, whose baby's that? Why are you holding another baby? But that was a baby she gave birth to. And the crazy part is the biological parents, like, which I thought was interesting. They filed for custody and she had to give the baby back. But I was just like, but who's the like, how come if you're, I thought the same thing too. I thought it was her husband. So I'm like,
No,
so
it's
if it's
just
her
a sperm
husband,
donor.
that's
No.
the part I don't
why'd you
understand.
have
Because
to
I saw the
give the
video.
baby
She's
back?
not with no man. It was just her and the baby. It's just
Oh.
her.
Oh, so
doesn't
she just
have
wanted to be a
husband.
single mom?
It's just a sperm donor. That's what I'm saying. Why she couldn't get no shivalingam?
Oh goodness gracious.
that's do they talk about that in the article?
It's not
no,
an
why?
no, it's just
Okay.
Angela.
Yeah, like I need more information.
No, that's a copy paste.
No,
from,
it's just one of those weird, lonely white ladies who just feel like she couldn't get a man and wanted a baby.
She has a husband.
No,
I
Santa,
really
she
think
doesn't
she
have
has a
She
husband.
doesn't have a husband.
It's a
No,
sperm
it's a
donor.
It said sperm donor,
But
but
you
So
want-
where did you get the part about the husband from? Like, why am I?
Nobody said
nobody said
You
No.
said husband,
I
bro.
thought you said husband.
No, bro.
not me.
No.
You said husband.
it's because she a white
Oh.
lady thought she got a husband.
I'm just
We'll
like,
hash this
who
one out
gives
later.
a fuck if the lady gave birth to a black baby?
She should have got shivalingam.
Oh my
Like, why couldn't she go? Hold on. Quick tidbit. One time, right? This
It's a long. There's gonna be a long story.
It's not gonna be a long story. It's not gonna be a long story. It's not gonna be a long story. One time, so I'm not much of a drinker. I've never really been much of a drinker. One time, I was at a bar with some friends from acting school. This was years ago, and we were sitting there at this bar, and I was sitting at a table by myself, and these two ladies came up to me and they're like, hey, and they start talking to me, and then I'm like, hey, and they are like, yeah, we're looking for a third, and I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but
A third?
okay.
They don't do number two.
It's a one entree thing. No two, a third.
And they were like, yeah, we're looking for a third, and then I was like, okay. I was like, sounds cool. And I totally didn't get the hint. So, I missed out on that opportunity in my life because they were like, do you like, they were so insulted.
Wait. Zawas would appreciate this. Do you want to partake? We don't forget.
Oh jeez.
So basically, they walked away like they were so offended that I didn't like catch on. But it wasn't like I was like trying to be a dick. I just didn't catch on. So in that lady's defense, maybe she approached some people trying to get them to just, plant the seed, and they just weren't with it. And then she was like, well, gotta go get the sperm from somewhere else.
I'm not buying that.
So
I'm
You
not
never
buying
know.
that one.
I think that the sad thing that's happening too is a lot of women are like, let me save my eggs. And so they go and they take their eggs and they go give it to a lab. And they think that, by the way, when a woman donates her eggs, it's some of them, I think, I don't know if it's all of them, but you have to donate 20% or a part of your eggs to also research, by the way. So you could say, I want some gone, but you have to donate some of your eggs to research, yeah.
In the name of
So
science.
whenever you're ready to give birth, now you can go through that situation of, you know, that freezing your egg situation.
People
And
wonder
so
why planes are falling from the sky.
Because
Because it's the kind of shit humans are doing.
and so at the end of the day, she said she never thought anything wild like this could happen. And to me, I'm just like, what? Like, you really never thought a mishap like this could happen? Like, humans are perfect to you? Like, like
Clearly not, because you're doing weird shit like taking out eggs.
it's scary. Like, once again, going to places that once didn't even care about you to do things like that, such a sensitive part of your life. But wild to me. I hope women are seeing this story and rethinking their decisions, because
They're not.
I can try to hope.
Such
What's
a
the next
shame.
topic, guys?
Next. Kenya withdraws from the World Health Organization. Kenya no longer trusts and withdraws from the World Health Organization because
It's like, that's it. Yeah, you had a hell of a delivery, son. I thought you were done.
Kenya no longer trusts the withdrawals from the World Health Organization because it can
Damn right.
destroy the sovereignty of Africa. In 2024-2015, the WHO brought a tetanus eradication campaign to Kenya. The vaccine used was a fertility regulating vaccine where when injected in a woman, she produces antibody against fertility hormone. This has increased infertility in the young Kenyan women.
I mean, if it's not apparent, then it's becoming increasingly apparent that they only do this shit in countries where they're trying to stop people from reproducing. But they don't do this shit in Finland. They don't do it in Austria, in Prague, where that fucking Indian guy was. They don't do it in other parts of the world. They only do that in Africa. They only do that in places. It's like what they were doing with the Tuskegee
Tuskegee experiment.
Tuskegee experiments, whatever. You're one to be correcting someone's English over here. PLZ, please.
He just said it his
Like,
way. You
yeah.
said it
I
your
know
way.
the way he did it, like Tuskegee, fool. You're like I know this one and you don't.
My
Zawaz is
Eng-
over there like, we got one.
Meanwhile, spells Tuskegee.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ask me to spell it. That's a fact. I can say it. I can't spell it.
But yeah, I mean, that's just the way they do it, you know?
Yeah.
It ain't nothing new, nigga. They're trying to stop only certain people from reproducing. They're not trying to stop the white people from reproducing. It's the same reason why them niggas don't stop the Ukrainian refugees. And it's the reason why everybody's out here posting about like, oh, Hamas finally released 4 hostages. And then they're like, oh yeah, fuck them Palestinians. They're like, who? How many of them niggas died? You don't know them niggas. So, you know, it goes hand in hand. It's just the way, you know, it functions in the West in terms of the way that they do this shit.
Quote unquote black and brown people, you know?
Yeah.
They don't want you in the world. Like, I'll never forget when I heard it was Bill Gates, right?
Yo, fuck Bill Gates.
They literally, straight out of their mouth, said,
Royally.
if we do a very good job in decreasing population, like, what? Like, how do you hear that and then think we're living in a world of sane people?
Well, who gave them the right to think that they have the right to reduce population or the authority?
God.
Oh shit.
What God?
Microsoft, nigga.
The Almighty.
The Almighty.
Yeah, your computer, nigga.
Didn't he get kicked out of India for doing that same thing?
Yeah.
Still in there, probably.
That created the virus.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trusting
Oh, yeah.
the vaccine.
So hold on a second now.
What logic?
Microsoft vaccines, like he left the world of technology to go into vaccines. That's
Stop
already
moving them.
like.
Stop. Keep the mic one place.
Yeah. You gotta talk into
You
the
gotta-
mic,
Oh,
not
It's not
around the mic.
I didn't realize I was doing that. But yeah, like he was in technology and now he's into vaccines. So that already like tells you like he's
Well,
up to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like these guys are all from like old money.
He was aiming at the wrong virus.
No, the thing is, you gotta understand. Like a lot of these guys who quote unquote have power or like help rule the world, they come from very old allegorical English European families that come from old money. So they have a mentality of superiority, where they see people who are not part of their, dare I say again, demographic, as threats to their society, because they want more, but they want so much more, they can only have more if you have less. But it makes more sense if there's just less of you guys, so I can just take more from wherever I want. Like they literally go and kill villages. They kill off hundreds of thousands of people just so they can go and get minerals out the ground.
That's wild.
They kill hundreds of thousands of people in India just so they can go and take farmland, so they can grow GMO and fake seeds and fake food to sell on the market.
It's just wild, bro. Then we wonder why planes are falling out of the sky.
Thank you. This is why planes are falling out of the skies.
Because
The earth is angry. Well, whatever.
like part of the
So I
whole
was
eugenics
like, I'm
thing.
trying to go home.
There's a way to do it so hard.
He's like, next.
All right, next up.
Let's wrap this shit up.
All right. Google Calendar removes dates from Black History Month, Pride Month, Women's History Month, and other observances. The company confirms that these changes began in mid-2024 and were a part of a broader shift in how cultural movements were displayed. A Google spokesperson states, "We got feedback that other events and countries are missing, and maintaining hundreds of moments manually and consistently globally wasn't scalable or sustainable. Google has returned to showing only public holidays and national observances. The shift also removed Indigenous Peoples Month and more. Google has returned to showing only public holidays and national observances."
So only like federal holidays, like government holidays, is what they recognize.
Christmas.
Nothing like.
Did they remove the Jewish holidays?
I
Yeah.
think so.
What about Rosh Hashanah, nigga?
Didn't say that, just like.
Oh, they just omitted that, huh?
Yeah, just like Black History Month, Pride Month, Women's History Month. and-
I mean, hold on. Here's the thing. Let's go back a little bit. Like, I don't really care, but if I cared, I would be offended that they were putting Black History Month with Pride Month.
I was thinking that. I was literally thinking that. I was like,
But
not
this
this
looks like a
bullshit again,
strategy.
bro.
You said what?
This looks like a strategy to get some kind of.
But I mean, in general, like, if it was me, it just, like, I would be like, why are you
grouping
putting
us
me,
together?
why are you grouping us together?
Yeah, because
But, like, are they not, what about Independence Day, nigga?
They always group black, LGBTQ, and women in one group and say marginalized communities. Like they always just keep doing that.
But the thing is that the marginalized people, like Dave Chappelle said it best. He was like, I think the only reason why they are pushing the trans thing is because white men want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
why are you laughing? It's
But
true.
Could it
He's
also
right.
be
Yeah.
a part of the population control one that came before?
It is.
too?
It is. That's another
Yeah.
aspect of population control. But I mean, it also goes with, it goes with the fact that only, like, because let's be honest, like, if, no pun intended, if white men didn't want, if there weren't a majority of white men that were gay, if there weren't a majority of white men that were trans, and they weren't partaking in this shit and this nonsense, then no one would give a fuck about this. Them niggas wouldn't care
At all.
They would not be pushing it. It's only when it's like the upper echelon of people doing that shit that they're like,
Well, that's the standard.
we got to do this.
That's the standard, and we gotta. If we're just honest, as black people in this place, the West, white people are the standard.
Well, it's not that
Thank
they're the
you.
standard. They're the ones that, because standard means that they're doing something good.
No, but they're the
I
standards.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
No, but he's
But
right. There's
they are the
standardization
standard.
in this country, and
no,
that
they're
standardization
they're
is
the
based-
benchmark.
Benchmark.
They're the
Okay,
benchmark.
I got you.
Standard means that there's something to strive to be, and you're sounding like the Indian dude.
No.
Hear
It
me out,
sounded
hear
like
me
he
out.
was saying
Hear
default.
me out.
Like that,
By
that's
default, that's the standard.
button is the
Because that's
standard,
what we
yeah.
strive to do.
Right.
We strive to do what our colonizers strive to do.
And then we say we gave it to them, like we created this.
No,
They're
but that's
leading the charge.
They're leading the charge.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. To me, it just is like I think language matters. So to
Yes.
say that white people are the standard,
I get it.
is
I
a part
get
of the
what you're
problem. Because
saying.
white people are not the standard; they're
Agree.
the fucking floor.
I agree.
guess-
What you
I
want
agree.
to avoid.
I agree with
They
you.
may try to
But
set the
mentally
standard.
speaking, that's not the case.
What?
Because the terms, but the reason why I see what what KagzrImen is saying is because like this country really stands on standardizing everything, standardized tests, standardized this, standardized that, and standard. Unfortunately, they've made that word seem like.
But that
Like what you're saying is right. It should be something you strive for, but the way they qualify standard is not. They kind of
What it
like
actually means.
exactly. They conflate it
Yeah, but
with being like this is
the
how things
problem.
are.
Yeah, but
And if you don't rock with how it are, it is it's huge.
It's a huge problem because it's like no. There's so much shit that people do in the world that none of us should be doing, but because then so many other people are doing
I mean,
it.
if your educational base
It's
is
here.
Western society,
That's your standard.
But that's what I'm saying. That's how you get niggas at the airport talking about, I'll take any type of white woman I can get. And I'm like, no, nigga, what's wrong with you?
What if he was trying to read you? What if he was just saying that to see which side of the coin
he was serious.
No, he was
He
dead
was
ass
serious.
serious. Because he was like, check out this baddie right behind me. And I was like, where?
I
And he's like,
can't.
right here.
just a
I was
plain
like,
Jane.
bro, I was like, she's wearing leather pants.
You know what's hilarious?
Airport. That's why.
Going back to this idea of the standard,
Yeah.
and white men wanting to do the trans thing. Somebody had sent me a clip of this trans guy, and he was being interviewed, and he was like basically doing a tell-all, and he was like, "What people don't realize is I've always wanted to be this way, and it's because of black women." When he said that shit, I swear a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, bing. I was like, I get why he said that.
Yeah, but that's
because the
like-
way the system uses black people are what I like to call the entertainment class of this civilization.
Well, they're not the
So-
entertainment. Well, they're the entertainment class, but then that means that they're only there for entertainment purposes. But I will add that black people are the cultural trailblazers for the West.
Exactly.
This is true.
It's true. But the fact that he said, I act this way because I'm mimicking black women. They're so rambunctious. They're loud. They're so extroverted.
But that's
So
why the
why you
niggas.
I'm like,
That's
that's how
why-
you doing it.
that's why
I'm like,
gay
yo,
people- that's
I'm like,
why-
this shit crazy.
Yeah, but
I'm like, we the problem.
No.
But we not the problem.
No.
But we the problem. But
No.
what's going on?
It's because
That's crazy.
It's because
That's-
they want
that's
to be
wild.
hyper effeminate versions of women, and then they take it off of black women, and then because you're not gonna see any fucking white women functioning like that. You don't even see women functioning like that, like normal women. You don't see women functioning like that until unless it's like a character or some shit. That's why you see gay dudes trying to model themselves after black women in particular.
Weave, the hair, the heels, everything.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Fucking
This is
crazy.
ridiculous.
It's wild. And
But
so
I never thought about it like that because I don't
Really?
like pay attention to gay people
Yeah, nigga,
in that
that's why
way.
they all
But
act
the
like
moment
that.
he said that, I was like, oh my God. Wow.
Speaking of
This
which,
is crazy.
That's insane.
Have you seen that video of that dude and that trans person fighting?
No.
I think I didn't send you that video.
No.
I'm gonna send it to you, bro. That shit is hilarious. That nigga went from doing the.
Was it like one of those dating show kind of things?
It was something like that.
Yeah.
It was like some
And he was
dude-
like,
yeah.
oh, you didn't say that when you tried to kiss me. And he was fighting.
He's like, and then he got beat up. And then that nigga went from all sight. He went from like he wasn't saying nothing. He was trying to kiss me. And it was like, oh. And then he started talking in his normal voice.
that shit was
my
hilarious.
goodness, it's crazy. It's funny you say that they're trying to embody like black women, but then some dude on Instagram he was just like, then you got black women putting drag makeup on, and it's so confusing. Which one is it?
The drags was trying to put the makeup on to be like them to begin with.
But there's a type of makeup that looks drag. Like you can look at the
I don't know
woman
what you
and
mean
you
by
don't.
that.
Drag means you can't tell if it's a woman anymore because she's looking like someone who's trying to transition. Like she's caked on makeup on her face so much, you don't know.
You know,
If
all of
it's
this,
a woman or a man, because
It's
now
so
that's what I'm
confusing,
saying.
bro.
They've come to that intersection where both are trying, like, are kind of being each other. It's weird.
you know Betty Boop, Betty Boop.
It's different.
Yeah.
The lady. You know that was a real lady. She was
Betty
back
Boop,
then. Yeah, back then it was like she was colored, like a mixed
Yes,
race black
she was
woman.
a black woman.
So the aesthetic she gave was she was very fetishized in like the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So she almost became like the standard of like what is attractive, especially to the white male like society.
Right.
So because of her, that's who Marilyn Monroe was
Modeled
trying
herself
to
off.
copy. But the funny thing is, prostitutes and how prostitutes dress, hookers, whores, like the wigs and the hair, even like the eyelashes, the cum catchers, because that's what porn stars wore to like catch the cum, so
my
it wouldn't go in
gosh.
their eyes.
What'd you say?
What?
You know that women wear their eyelashes now?
Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're bringing
You didn't know
up a
that?
great point. This is
You
what I'm
didn't know
saying.
that?
People are dressing up in things they don't realize.
know the history
It
of.
has a history.
It has
and
a-
it
it
comes
has
You're
a
from
saying that
thing.
things.
Yeah.
those big ass eyelashes
Yeah.
were
Those
for
lashes.
catching
Yeah,
jizz?
it was for the porn industry, and it was for catching jizz, so it wouldn't get in their eye.
Wait a second.
Wow.
It had a
Yep.
function.
And the wigs, the tight dresses, the short dresses, the heels, all that.
Okay.
Only prostitutes
I'm
dressed
gonna
like
look that up.
So that
Look
was
it up.
so that
Look
was
it
a
up.
functional
Research
style.
There's some real things going on, but only prostitutes dressed like that before. And then Marilyn Monroe became like the standard of what beauty was. But if you look at Marilyn Monroe's aesthetics,
It's off
she
of
was
the Betty
copying
Boop.
Betty, whatever, right? But then they started dressing her up as like a prostitute while her
Gary.
copying Betty Boop, Betty, what I forgot her name, whatever. Then that also became the standard of what they use to kind of I guess modernize or feminize women. Yeah,
You for real?
It's true. It's true.
Why do you know that?
How did you come across
Why do you
this?
know that?
People
Histories
have
of
been seeing so
eyelashes.
much eyelashes and trying to understand.
Because I was like, yo, what the hell is this?
It's-
I have to understand this.
Oh my
It's
god!
insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
they weren't cum catchers. They were cumbrellas.
Whoa!
Even better. Even fucking better.
Okay. Hold on, okay. In 1882, the press stated that in London,
jeez.
a prostitute named Gerda Parida
Gerda.
devised elongated eyelashes or cumbrellas to keep semen out of working girls' eyes, which are still popular today. Hey, if you wear eyelashes, That's for you. That's insane.
Oh my word.
But see,
Wow.
but this is what I'm saying.
That's what
Okay,
I'm-
so they're going back to what you said. You don't understand the makeup, because what that guy was trying to say is, men like women. So makeup or not, you're a woman. Men are gonna
I
like.
prefer without the makeup.
Exactly. So when
But
women,
I'm a real man.
yes, but when women are wearing makeup to be liked by men, it's kind of weird because now makeup was worn by people who were trying to look like women. So you're a woman and you're trying
what?
to look like a woman.
You're saying, wait, hold on. Let's go back. You said what about makeup being worn by people trying to be women?
There's a certain type of makeup.
Yeah, it
a
came from
look
men trying to look
trying
like
to
women.
look
That's what
like
makeup
a
was for.
Woman. Like there's a look when you're trying to look like a woman, but now you have women wearing makeup trying that style to try to look like a woman. They don't look like themselves. They almost like contour their nose, contour their like they look like they're trying to be another woman. So if a man's trying to look at you to figure out if you're a woman or a man, but you're a woman trying to look like a woman, it's off.
You know, that came from like the geishas.
Yes,
in
the
Japan.
geishas,
It's
exactly.
men trying to look like women. That's why they wore
It
But
was
I
a
thought the
war
geishas. I
tactic.
thought the geishas were women.
No,
No,
they're
they're
not.
men.
They're men.
Geishas are men, bro.
They were men.
That's
Why?
the original trainee.
It was a war tactic.
What?
Yeah, that's the original trainee, bro.
They were men.
What the fuck? Why?
Oh man.
Why?
Wait, you said what?
War
Why?
tactic.
I only know geishas as I mean, I don't know what they are. I just know that there's a movie called Memoirs of a Geisha.
Look it up. The
It's prostitutes.
original geishas were men called taikamochi.
These are in Thailand.
They were tendants to feudal lords and entertained guests with music, dancing, and jokes. But they were men.
Mm-hmm.
They
But-
dressed like
But
women.
even then, the women there started to take the geishas'
Women.
makeup and
Men that
everything,
dress like
and that's
women.
the standard they use to dress up the prostitutes. So I'm saying is they're using the same standard that they were taking women who were essentially prostitutes. And that became the standard of beauty in the American like arts industry. So basically, the symbology of that is all these women are prostitutes, and then now you have girls who are average girls who see that on TV or see that as like the stars.
Yeah.
So then now they mimic that.
Yes.
So everybody's in this kind of like energetic mode of being prostitutes
Being a
without
hoe.
even knowing it.
Exactly. And as a woman, I can attest to you. It's true. You don't
my
even
God.
realize it. I wanna go shopping. I'm like, I like this dress. I go home. I'm like, I look like a, like I didn't know that that's what I was gonna look like. You know, so it's pervasive in ways that as women we don't even be knowing. But it's wild out here. It's wild out here.
But yeah, you know, again, it's just the standard. What's the next topic?
or
We
the
could be on
benchmark.
this one for. We could talk about just this.
Was that the
for
last
hours.
one?
This is the last one.
Oh, I thought
You're
that was
like-
the last one.
So Waz is like, finally.
I think he was interested in that
Hold
topic.
on, though, before we go any
We
further.
should do a whole episode on just this alone. 'Cause
Yeah,
this,
but
this
hold on,
can go. This can go deep.
before we go any further,
Oh,
the
geisha.
original geishas were men called Tako Mochi or Hukan. The term geisha literally refers to art person and has been used in Japanese since the 13th century. They were okay. They were jesters.
Yes.
You left that out, nigga.
No, I
No,
read. I was
she
reading.
was
I read
reading.
that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was reading. I read that.
Okay. I didn't. I was somewhere else.
It's okay. But I do want to say this on this episode before people are like, no, indigenous people wore makeup before that and all that stuff. That
No,
wasn't
we didn't.
makeup.
No, we didn't.
It wasn't making up anything. It was harmonizing with things that they were honoring or, dialoguing with. But I wouldn't stay here and say make up, like to make something up. So.
Everything indigenous people did had a spiritual meaning behind it. And even like what we're talking about now in terms of like everybody making themselves prostitutes, without knowing or realizing. And even if you do know, you just don't care because you're just fucking ignorant. You're living in the sauce. You're living in the zoo. So fuck it, whatever.
Use a hoe.
Be a fucking hoe in the zoo, whatever.
That's wild.
Really, everything indigenous people did had a real meaning behind it, and it wasn't just for like beauty. It was a meaning, like even like what people are calling like mascara and stuff now. Like when we were in Hedai shot, I'm not gonna say his name, but somebody saw people wearing it and was like,
The
"You guys-
Cheeto.
yeah,
The
you guys
Cheeto.
have
The
on
eye
mascara."
medicine. Yeah.
But nah, bro, it's a medicine for your eyes. And if you want to get even deeper into it, even like when you really get into spirituality and spiritual things, that's for you to unlock or awaken the spiritual sight in the eye.
That's why my eyes are so red, because I've been putting the eye medicine in my eyes. People think like the amount of people that don't know me, like that I know outside, they're like, "Are you okay?" Because you look like have you been smoking weed? I'm like, no, it's medicine for my eyes. And then they're like, okay. And then I'm like, no, look. And then they're like, oh my God, your eyelids are so red. I'm like, yeah, because that's where the medicine goes.
Okay.
Somebody said Betty Boop was based off of Esther Lee Jones, a child performer. She was known for her kitty accent, childlike voice. Yes, that's
child
true.
performer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they took that kind of like characteristic and look, and they sexualized it. That became like the concept of like, you know, what men are going for. And then from there, that became the archetype of how they would then proceed to make prostitution like a fetish or fetishizing it. Really, we're even getting into pedophilia. But again, this, like I said, this is a topic that we can talk about for hours.
Yeah.
So next episode.
Yeah. So let's move on to the last
All right.
thing.
To be continued on that one. So,
Dun dun dun.
proverb: a wise man fetches water to wait for the thirst to come. Did you think there was another?
That was the last.
Yeah, that
that
is
was
the last-
that's rapid fire.
That's the
This-
last rapid fire.
Okay,
that was the
so-
proverb.
That's the ancestral proverb. Is that from one of the divinations? Where's that from? Y'all
not
pull that shit off of Google?
You guys just
No.
randomly find that shit.
It wasn't pulled from Google. It was a priest said it recently, and then it is an African proverb. I think some places say Kenya, but it's like the Kenyan proverb. It was something different. It was like the water of a river does not wait for a thirsty man or something. But the way that I heard it was that a wise man fetches water to wait for the thirst, not
No, I get it.
goes.
But hold on.
Okay,
Where's
I
that?
get
What
it.
is it from?
Which part?
The proverb. Where's the proverb from?
Well,
Like,
I
who-
recently heard Nebrita say that
Okay,
about not waiting to be thirsty to
No,
then
don't,
go get
don't
water.
explain it. I just wanted to know,
Coffee.
like who. But okay, explain it now. Yeah.
Now you're on. You're like, I put that there myself.
I didn't know.
It was me. You're like taking off the
No.
sunglasses and the mustache. You're like, ha ha ha.
I was the one.
You're like, it was my problem.
No, it
But
wasn't.
okay. Yeah, just go ahead.
No, just that, you got to prepare yourself. And so I was only I'm answering because you said, where did it come from?
Yeah, I know. I just was wondering.
So what do you think of it, though?
I mean, you already told us what
No,
it
but
means.
what do you think? No,
What do-
that was
what
my
do
machination.
Oh, that
of
was your
it.
machination of it. It wasn't like
Yes.
what he explained it to be.
No, he used his own words, in which I'm not using.
You are gonna have to say what he said, but you'll say it.
Which
after.
is what he
Yeah.
read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right here, right there.
yeah. So there's this other
Can we
one
just
now.
explain the damn proverb?
Wait, let's repeat
All
that.
right.
The river flows on without waiting for the thirsty man.
That's the Kenyan proverb.
There's too many people rowing, and not enough people steering. No, I'm sorry, the other way. There's too many people steering and not enough people rowing.
So
Fire them.
can we just explain this proverb?
Yeah,
guys?
go ahead.
You put it there, right?
What are your thoughts? I thought I shared mine already.
Well, in Angela's defense, Angela wasn't expected to be the guest tonight.
Right.
But she did wonderful though. She's a wonderful guest, and we actually maybe even found like a third host. Like whenever you're fired, Kenny Bashu.
No.
Like whenever
He trained me.
whenever we need a third guest. Because I mean, now we do come to like, you know, the generic podcast where there's two dudes and one lady. So it's like now we definitely do become like the generic podcast with you, but you bring up the perfect counterbalance and
Awesome.
and dynamic. So it's been great to have you, and we know you're gonna come back because we're gonna force you to come back. But in her defense,
You guys heard that?
This is a dictatorship. Let me say it now. It's a dictatorship.
We don't want to hear from you. We just want you to be there.
That's how existence works.
Be there an hour early.
Yeah, exactly, an hour early.
Don't let me have to call you.
Okay.
And yeah, so she didn't know. So technically speaking, she was probably putting it there for us to riff on it, but then now she's forced to even tell us where she got it from, because she was handling some of the stuff behind the scenes, but wasn't going to be a part of in front of the camera. But she was forced to be in front of the camera. But go ahead, Seth.
So the water of the river flows on without waiting for the thirsty man. The water of the river flows on without waiting for the thirsty man. That's deep. It's very deep. It's almost like if you're thirsty or you know you need something, you want something, you can't really waste time to go and get it, because time is not going to stop for you. Nothing is going to stop for you. Things are going to keep on moving. So who are you to say, hey, I'm thirsty now, you have to stop flowing so I can drink now? No, that's just not how things work. You have to go and get it. You have to work for it. But things won't stop. Nothing's going to stop just because you want something.
Well, to me, it really kind of like it kind of speaks to like how you can be living next to life, like, or how life can be happening next to you, and then like you can almost be outside of the flow of life, and then not even know that you're outside of the flow of life. And then like life is gonna happen with or without you. And like you're gonna be next to it, or you could be living next to it. Like there's another proverb which is like, don't sit by a river and wash your hands with spit. Like don't sit by a river and complain of thirst.
I've heard of that.
And like the onus of like being a part of life always falls on you. So I think there's a geniosity to it. Say it one more time, not the Kenyan version, but the original one that you had. How'd it go?
A wise man fetches water. A wise man fetches water to wait for the thirst to come.
And I mean, it also, to me, speaks of like the wisdom of anticipation. Like in how like you have to some degree use wisdom when it comes to anticipation. Like when I used to when I lived in Los Angeles, I worked at a restaurant, and I always prided myself when I was waiting tables as being anticipatory. So
I didn't even know that was a word, anticipatory.
yeah, anticipatory.
Added to you?
Yeah, right. You're like Tuskegee, another word I have on TutibSaa. So Waz was like, yeah. It's like the amount of times that asshole has talked shit to me about my English. We got one. KagzrImen, we got one. And because I'm always giving them shit about how they're like the worst English writers of all time.
I'm not an Englishman. I don't care.
None of us are. But then
Right.
they write using like text shorthand.
You understand it though, right?
Yeah, because we grew up in a world of texting.
That's
bro.
all that matters. You understand it.
All right,
That's all
whatever.
that matters.
You see, this is a hot button topic. We're like, fuck the proverb. Nigga, did you understand what I texted you?
You knew.
Yeah.
Contemporary.
So, No, you forgot what I was saying.
No, you're saying being used to work to wait tables.
Yeah. So when
anticipatory.
I prided myself on being anticipatory, which meant that you don't wait for. Okay, if you have a table with kids, right, with a family, and then there's kids, you know they're gonna need extra napkins because they got kids, right? And then if you see someone, you put their Diet Coke on the table, and then they drink that shit, they're gonna need a refill. And they're probably going to want a refill before they have to ask you for the refill. So it's about being anticipatory, using your intelligence and understanding like what's to come and how to prepare yourself for things. And like you never really want to wait till you're fully in need to have something. Like I'm the kind of person like Kenny, I don't want to put people out there, but like we don't have our normal production team here, so we're relying on other people stepping in for the production for Gated Gates to occur. And I was telling the team that's helping, like we're doing it at this time, a day before, so on and so forth, such and such, because I like to put as much control in my hands, because then there's going to be things that aren't going to be in my hands in terms of preparation. And that happened tonight. There were things, It was a week before. But there were things that were out of our control, no matter how much we prepared, that still caused us to be starting at a time that we weren't wanting to start. Because we were ready to go, and we were going to go live at 8. But we had to prepare, and then we had to then start. I think we started like 10:30. So it was like 2.5 hours after the fact. And yet, if we hadn't prepared, we wouldn't have been able to go at that time. So it speaks to preparation. It speaks to the fact that like, don't allow the becoming of life to kind of kick you out by not preparing and understanding what's coming, because that's what true intelligence and clairvoyance is the ability to know and the ability to prepare and to like almost anticipate what's going to happen and to be prepared for it. Not to say, you know, it's going to happen exactly the way you anticipated it, but then also to have the adaptability to, you know, to move with it and to roll with it, depending upon how it goes.
To do something about it.
Flow. Get your bucket.
Yeah, and the thirst is you. The river's not thirsty. You're gonna get thirsty.
You need the river, nigga. The river don't need you.
Exactly.
It doesn't need you. So you want the mic?
Yeah.
This also reminds me of Precept of Kebtah, where
Which
it talks
one?
about
Oh, now you want to be on the show?
which talks about time waits for no one.
Who
It will leave
who
you in
said
its
that?
midst.
Who's
Priest
that on the
Kebtah.
mic? No, who's that on the mic?
Not anybody important.
This
But
guy
yeah,
refused to come on the show. He's like, no, you don't understand.
The essence
If
is.
certain people see me on the show, it's going to be a problem. But go ahead.
What if they
go
hear
ahead.
you?
Precepts of Kebtah, go ahead.
It's a section in the Precept of Kebtah which says, time waits for no one. It will leave you in its midst. So it follows that same kind of wisdom where it's letting you know how it connects to the bigger things that govern your life. Because it's true. Time doesn't wait for anybody. You either fit into nature or you get left behind.
Yeah.
Say it again for the people in the back. Yeah. You have anything to add, Angela?
No.
Not you.
Thank you for answering.
Mystery host. It's like, no, I'm finished.
No. Yeah. By the way, I said I'm Amma, but I also go by Angela. End of the episode.
I've been calling her Angela.
The whole
If you
time.
guys haven't figured that out by now, I don't know what to tell you. I've been calling her Angela all night.
Yeah, the mysterious Angela. It's me too.
Angela Akata.
I thought it was a taka.
No,
Akata.
we were supposed to practice saying
Yeah,
it.
whatever.
But
English is not my. I'm not an Englishman.
Akata's not
That's not
English.
English.
Whatever, nigga.
It's energy. But yeah, no, I think you all said it really clear. You know, just get with the program of existence and just move accordingly. Because, you know, the world doesn't revolve around us. There's an order to things and the way things are organized already. We want things to be our way, but that's not how it works. It's not how it works. So even going back to
Never.
the topic of, I want to know where I come from. Well, there's a way you find out, and going to 23andMe is not how it works. They're not going to tell you who you are.
Yeah, they're not gonna tell you shit.
Yeah, you just gave your information to
23andMe.
someone else, and they might find out who you are.
Oh, they're gonna find out.
I know they know. That's the thing.
Yeah, they
They
know.
will know.
Yeah,
but
they
will
know.
just give you the generic information about it.
Yeah. So last words. I know y'all mad at the word Akata, but listen, like, if you want to know who you are, there are people who are in the harmony with nature and like have the traditions and lose anything, and they have the techniques, and so there are people you can go to that, but you'd have to like check yourself, make sure we are coming correct to even have that type of access. So that's all.
Call me no. It's my Miss Cleo
Call me
voice.
no.
Oh yeah, I was like, what is that?
Madam,
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo, tell you about your future. Yeah.
What-
It's a perfect plug.
What do you mean?
Oh,
So Waz is trying to get us to end the show so bad.
So bad.
He's like, talk about the Earth Center. He's like, use the segue.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about how
No,
people,
don't say no culty shit, man. Just
no, because I think I
Don't
know
be
what
weird.
he's saying.
Yeah,
Like
don't be
we
weird
get
with it.
emotional, we get our feelings hurt, and we be like, oh, that place isn't for me because I didn't feel the vibes. It's not about what
Whatever.
you feel; it's about
Who
what's right.
cares?
So, yep.
if you feel out of place, whatever. Who gives a fuck?
But yeah, that's all. That's all I have to say.
It's just education.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you guys. Nonetheless, we know you missed us. We missed you guys too. It goes hand in hand. And honestly speaking, like the most interesting thing. So I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I could say this. I was really the one holding up the show from coming back. It was really me, like just due to personal issues and a death in the family, and just like other things, like just kind of just not really feeling like I was like in a place to maybe do the show yet, and it was really the people that we saw on the pilgrimage and the trip, and them to really tell us like what they like how much the show meant to them. That was inspiring and really kind of made KagzrImen and I really be like, oh, like we're not just talking to ourselves.
Right. People are actually listening.
Like people are actually listening. And we know, there's a lot of like sad attempts at podcasts, and there's like really like as Yatepia put it, not to put her out there, but like a snooze cast or something like that. she was saying, and we know we're the podcast you love to hate. Like it's popular to hate things, and especially it's popular to hate like our podcast, because we're just so fucking good at it. Like we're just like so popular
And arrogant.
and and like it's just such a good podcast. But all jokes aside, like all sarcasm aside, like we do this to connect with you guys. Like we don't do this for ourselves. We do this to connect with you guys and to really to really share and to get the work out there and to bridge the gap, because there's so much bullshit out there. There's so much nonsense out there, and there's so much we need to do in terms of bridging those gaps. And like the world doesn't need people to be shitty, like it doesn't need more shitty people. Like the world needs more people to stand up and to fight, and the world needs more revolution. It doesn't need more bureaucracy. And you know, we wanna put our money where our mouth is when it comes to that. So we are wishing for more of that, and we hope you guys continue to tune in. We hope you guys continue to enjoy the podcast. We hope you know, things continue to go well, and we have the motivation and the dedication and the will for it, and the strength for it. But none of it would be possible without you guys tuning in, and we hope you guys continue to tune in. We hope you guys continue to support, and you know, as we always say, it's been another episode of the Gated Gates podcast, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we hope you guys continue to tune in. And Zawaz is like, fucking end this. And before we do that, I don't know if KagzrImen has anything to say.
Yes, just add a little bit. You know, sometimes, if I'm gonna be real and be honest, sometimes even doing something like this, yeah, we do enjoy it, but it can also sometimes feel like a chore. If I'm being honest, it can feel like a job. It can be stressful. It can be strenuous, because it's a lot, you know.
It was hard. It's hard. It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's hard to do
like,
this
what
shit.
time is it right now?
Yeah.
It's like almost. It is 1 o'clock in the morning.
It is.
And there's
yeah.
times that we have 4-hour episodes, 5-hour episodes, you know. But at the end of the day, knowing that we're doing this for not just ourselves or to just fuel our own egos, but we're doing it for like a bigger purpose.
That's what you're doing it for?
I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for.
Oh yeah, no, I'm doing it for my own ego.
Okay.
And my own notoriety.
Well, he's doing it for his own ego and his own notoriety. But I'm genuinely.
You're not?
No. I'm genuinely doing this because I see the impact it's having for some of you guys based upon the things that was said to me. Can you stop? And, you know, we're just doing this because we actually appreciate you and we appreciate people. And just know that it's not for us.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's real. Cause I mean, it was kind of that kind of allowed me to really be like, oh,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah, because people were, people closer to us were telling us, and like, oh, please bring it back. I was like, silence. I hear from you peasants. I don't hear your opinions. How dare you tell me what you like and dislike.
Man, I
And
missed
then-
y'all too. It's okay to have people miss it, you know?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how you know they love it, right?
Exactly. To know to, you know, appreciate it when it comes. When it comes back. So.
True. Because, you know, we see the other things, and, you know, it's
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah, nah.
Podcast world out there is just really
Everyone, I honestly was like, you know, maybe we need to do like a video, like an episode where like we walk people through on like how to not do a shitty podcast.
Yeah. They
Like,
still
and
going
how to like do a good podcast.
They're still gonna do it.
Huh?
They're still gonna have shitty podcasts.
Like, yeah, they're still gonna do it, but it just, I was kind of thinking about it, because like y'all need to start putting some respect on our names, like when it comes to this podcast, because you know we ain't no light work, you know what I mean? Like we in there, and but it is very much appreciated to see all the support and the impact, because without it, then, you know, like KagzrImen said, it can be chore. It can be kind of chore-ish. And I think by the time we finished with season 1, like I was kind of like burnt out with a lot of stuff.
There's a lot going on. It's not just this. Like, there's so much, you know, that we all have going on. And to take the time to do this again, it's because we appreciate you guys more than maybe you appreciate us.
So how does one give back? Like, how does one show their appreciation for this podcast?
For the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like purchase our merch if you can, because that's what goes into supporting the production costs.
Okay.
Because like other than that, then it's like it's us, like it's our own finances that go into it, and that's fine, because that's like we put our money where our mouth is and we believe in it. And you know, you could tell Angela's like the forward thinking like marketing person, because she's like yeah, those words are great, but how can these fools actually help us? Like, and so yeah, right, like how do we get something out of this for real though? Yeah, you can support our merch and like, you know, and look into the projects that we're doing, because like, you know, we're a part of something much bigger. And it's not just for, you know, KagzrImen and I and Angela and whoever else is up here with us and the team behind the camera that makes it, you know, that they're invaluable as well. There's so many projects and so many things we do, and we just want you to know and to see like what we do and who we are. And then, you know, because there's just so, like, I'm not a big fan of institutions. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big fan of organizations in general, because I find when you get a bunch of people together, they tend to do stupid shit. And, like, I am not a huge, like, I'm not a big institution guy myself. And so I'm not saying that lightly. And I say all that to say, you know, but check out, like, everything that we do. Like, you know, check out Costa Natural Healing, you know, buy the Healing Kitchen Volume 2, the global edition, get the calendar. You know what I mean? Like, buy the merch, like do those things. Like, that's how you support us. And like, also, we appreciate you guys tuning in mostly and most importantly, and like, share the podcast.
Right.
Like, if there's an episode that you like and, you know, you want to put it out there and you want to give it to people or send it to people, like, send it, like, comment, subscribe, you know, share it, like, get it out there. Continue to engage, like the comments during the show, like, keep dropping comments, like, because that's how we know that, like, you know, the podcast has a pulse. Like, because we're just not going to sit in a room and just record it and then it just be me and KagzrImen just sitting here and then just, like, you know, like, because you can't have a show without an audience. So you guys are the ones that make it a show. So even, you know, when we were in Merita, Kenny Basha was like, okay, we're live. And I'm like, I don't care if we're live. If there's even if we have one viewer, then we can say we started the show, because you can't have a show without an audience. So, you know, it goes both ways. We're in it, and all jokes aside, we're not doing this for our egos. We're not doing this for our own notoriety. Like, we're doing it to share and to give back and to keep things, you know, grounded, and for it not to be, you know, unreachable and kind of far away and then distant and hard for people to understand it. Because I mean, like, yeah, like, let's be honest, like, Africans don't like black people don't like Africans, and, you know, like, there's a lot of nonsense in the world, but then, you know, we're never going to tackle any of this shit if we're just going to be, you know, standing on high horses and then being dishonest and then, you know, lying to each other. So we're gonna need to find ways to bridge it and bring it together. And if we don't find ways to bridge it and bring it together, then there's no opportunity for the future. There's no opportunity for the children and our children to do it. So it goes together. You can't have one without the other. So, you know, we started this podcast and we started doing this podcast, and there was a lot of opposition to it. I mean, there's a lot of people that still don't support it, still don't like it, because they feel like, you know, we aren't maybe coming through with a more refined or buttoned up approach, or we're just not fucking pretentious. And that was the point. Is that the world doesn't need more pretension. The world doesn't need more people to be buttoned up. the world needs people to be human beings and to be real and to be grounded and to be honest about who they are and to be themselves and to allow that to speak for itself, not corporate ambitions, not trying to be something you're not trying to put on a fake voice, not trying to do an impersonation of somebody, not trying to put on fake accents, not trying to do these things that so many people think that they have to do in order to, you know, like be something. So, you know, we just want you guys to, you know, to continue to be yourself and to know that spirituality also has to do with being yourself. And you get nowhere. That's the first step. You can't get anywhere without being yourself. So yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but buy the merch, continue to support, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with you guys.
Just to throw in there, you know, I know they were showing the pages and everything, the projects we were doing. Just check those websites out. www.theearthcenter.org, www.Ancestral. Check those things out because, again, even for us doing this, it's because we had people that showed us a way. So we want to make sure that you have the same access to those same doors and those same pathways as well. We're here talking about finding yourself, like knowing who you are and understanding yourself. Like Angela said, there's tools available for you to do so. You just have to be the one to seek.
Go fetch that water.
Go fetch it. We do a lot of things, projects, helping indigenous people, helping communities all over the world, because you see, the world is a very dangerous and messed up place right now. That's why planes are falling. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening.
So matter of fact.
You know?
Why planes are falling. Maybe that's the name of this
people trying to
episode.
kill off indigenous people. You know, Hollywood is crazy. The governments are crazy. Like we gotta get back into nature and natural things. So if you can find something that can bring you as close as possible to nature and natural things, support it. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Because it's not just for us. It's not just for our organization. It's for the whole world.
Literally.
That's literally what this is about. It's about the whole world coming together, finding those commonalities, and stopping the bullshit. There doesn't need to be any more divide. The divide and conquer tactic, it's been working, so we got to try something else. That's it. But with that being said, it's been another episode of the Gator Gates podcast.
No. Someone just said, make more merch.
Yes.
Yeah, we have more merch. It's just a matter of, you know, when we're gonna put it out. And
I got an idea.
for merch.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it. I'm like, don't say it. I was like, because if you say it, then we're not gonna do it.
No, I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
it.
don't say it. But I don't know if all of you guys saw the jacket I had in episode 47. No, not 47, 46, episode 46.
Yeah.
At the Kwanzaa Fest.
Yeah.
But that jacket is coming. So when we put that jacket out, it may be in like only for initiates, but we may open it up where we let everyone get it and customize it. But you know, we gotta. The thing is, this is like I don't want to put that out, and then it falls flat. So make sure if I put that out, you guys, everybody does their part, because once I, you know, get that going, then I don't want to, you know, I don't want that to not hit how it's supposed to hit. So yeah, we're coming with more merch, and you know, just stay tuned.
Are the hoodies still available though?
Yeah, the hoodies are still available. You can get the hoodies. You can get the hoodies on the site. You know, and honestly, like the hoodies and everything on the site was just the test stuff that we have, but we, you know, we're like, let's see, you know, how it goes, and you know, so you guys got to support if you guys want us to put out the rest, because we're not just gonna put them out just to put them out. But you know, we have it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We have stuff, and it's just sitting in our archives. Someone, I'm not gonna say who, Tutanen, took one of the designs that I had and then used it on another T-shirt because he just happened to stumble upon it and then used it on another T-shirt. And I was like, when I saw the T-shirt being printed, because I was here like when the T-shirts arrived, and I opened the box and I was like, interesting design.
Who did that?
And I was like, who? And I called Zawaz and I was like, Zawaz, did you design this T-shirt? And he was like, no, I didn't. I was like, who did? And he told me who did it. And I was like, interesting. I was like, I wonder how he got this, because it was sitting in our drive. And I left it in that drive because it actually wasn't supposed to be on the front of a T-shirt. I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want anyone to feel any kind of way, but it wasn't supposed to be on the front of a T-shirt. It was supposed to be on the side. It was one of the side emblems of the T-shirt. But nonetheless, I'm not salty about it. Call me to tell me. But yeah, it's been another episode of the Getting Gates podcast. It's 1:30 in the morning. Huh? Yeah, just end it. Just stop us from ourselves.
Yeah, let's
just end it.
This has been another episode of the Getting Gates.
Exactly.